7 p.m. Smashville Live features exclusive interaction with Nashville Predators players, broadcasters, and celebrities. They'll break down the latest on the ice. Listen every Wednesday night at 6 on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Or you can now watch live on thegamenashville.com, Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube. Smashville Live is presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, the official vodka of the NHL, Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop. Number now, 800-819-1120. That's 800-819-1120. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-819-1120 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
NASCAR is back. Kyle Larson returns to Nashville Superspeedway a winner.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From 31 yards, McPherson. And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl. He called it again, I'm sure. He walked up and he goes, "Can you believe, Coach? We're going to the Super Bowl." And they did it. They beat Mahomes at home. Wow, Joe Burrow. No way.
There you go. That was the call last night. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to the Super Bowl representing the AFC. Stillman & Companies, delivered by TriStar Moving, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. It is a Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. DrinkFocus.com. Caroline Fenton's here today. How are you, Caroline?
Hello, doing well. How we doing?
Outstanding. Ian Safar's here today. How are you, Ian?
What up, what up?
Okay, so you guys know the feeling when you have a friend and there's something that's bothering that friend, and at some point you're like, you got to get over it. Like, say it's a breakup, a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you got to get over it, right?
Like, I'm tired of this.
Yes. Like, okay, the first week that I heard you complain about your breakup
sulk.
from, Crystal, and it's like, hey, I know it was tough for you and Crystal and it's not working out, but I don't care anymore,
Yes, been there.
I think I'm becoming that friend.
With Titans fans?
Well, just with
everything?
I guess you guys are my friends. I don't know.
Well, I'd like to be your friend.
Okay.
Is there something that I need to get over?
No, I think I'm becoming that guy.
I'm borderline right there with you.
I mean, how could you? Let's just start with how we felt. Both games. Like your number one feeling watching both games. I'll go first. I was legitimately depressed when the Bengals won yesterday. Like, legitimately, like, heartbroken. Well, heartbroken's probably a little too strong. I watched the first half of the game, the AFC Championship game, and I saw, Kansas City get off to this big lead, and I saw some of the calls Kansas City was getting, the non-pass interference, holding on the offensive line that they weren't calling, and I was like, this is why you don't play that game in Arrowhead. This is why you don't play that game there. And I'm like, man, the Titans defense would just be smoking Kansas City right now, like a barbecue. And then the second half happened. And Joe Cool never panicked. It wasn't perfect. It was not a perfect second half from Joe Burrow. Don't let anybody confuse you and think it like, hey, they were down 21-10 and then Joe just came out bing, 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 bing. It wasn't like that. Joe was not perfect. He was tough, though. And I'm sitting there like watching this game, and then when I saw the ball go through the uprights, I'm like, the Titans would have killed that Kansas City team here in Kansas City. And people are going to say, well, you don't know that, and you don't think this, and you don't, maybe you're right. I just think, like look at Kansas City, for example. When you get smoked by Buffalo the first time, you get smoked by the Titans, you lose to the Bengals on the road, you lose to the Bengals at home. Now, they did beat the Bills in overtime, but when you play the best teams in the conference and the only time you win is once in overtime because you got the ball first, like maybe you're really not that good, okay? And Kansas City just, I mean, this was Eagles Andy Reid level choke job in the playoffs. And I'm like, oh my God. And it hurt like doubly or triply. And I'm trying not to be that guy when it comes to Tannehill. I'm really trying not to. And I cannot do, and I will not do 4 hours of complaining about Tannehill today. But I saw that game and I thought, oh my God, you know what the difference between Cincinnati's AFC Championship game in Kansas City was and your AFC Championship game in Kansas City?
What?
They have Joe Burrow, and you have Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, third down. So once Mahomes scored, so I go back to the AFC Championship game 2 years ago. Once Mahomes scored on the running touchdown before the half that made it 21-17 Chiefs, Ryan Tannehill was 1 of 5 on third down. He hit a 3rd and 7 in his own territory to Adam Humphries for 8 yards. Joe Burrow yesterday was 4 of 7 on third down in the second half, including a touchdown to Jamar Chase. There you go. And I'm just watching the Bengals win, and I'm thinking they would be passing around hats and T-shirts in Nashville right now if Ryan Tannehill didn't stink it up. And I'm trying not to be that friend, guys. I'm trying not to. Then I watched the other game. And all I can take away from that is congratulations to the Rams, who this time last year had the stones to look at their quarterback, who they gave a massive contract to, and say, you stink, we're done with you, on to the next guy. Congratulations to the Rams. Fortune favors the bold, and they are in the Super Bowl game because of it at their own stadium. And while I hope the Titans can see the light like Sean McVay did over with the Rams, I am not confident that the Titans will see the light. And so I don't know about you guys, but yesterday I thought was a depressing day of football for Titan fans. Caroline, what'd you think?
And this is what I told you, was that it's difficult to look at it because if the Titans were playing the Chiefs yesterday, who knows if they totally would have stunk it up in the second half and if it would have been the Titans game for the taking, but you can only think.
All right, hold on. Kick it around the room. Would the Titans, I'm going to use the word killed. Would the Titans have killed Kansas City at home?
Killed Kansas City?
Yes.
I don't think killed.
I think they would have smoked them.
I don't think they would have smoked them.
I think they would have smoked them.
They wouldn't have given up 21 points in the first half.
If they had played that game at Nissan Stadium, there's something wrong about Kansas City. Like, this is not Kansas. This is not the Kansas City team that played that AFC title game to remember with New England or won the Super Bowl or anything like that. At least I don't think so. I think the Titans would have smoked them at Nissan Stadium. Ian, would the Titans have killed Kansas City at home yesterday?
Man, I can't go killed. I can't go there. But I do.
That's a little far.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Titans.
But I do think they would have had a legit shot.
I think it would have been like the Rams game this year. I think it would have been like the first Chiefs game. I think it would have been like one of those ones where, where it was like 17-7 at halftime Titans. And it's like, all right, Kansas City gets the ball first to start the second half. And Kansas City gets the ball. And they go 3 and out, they punt, the Titans score, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh dear God, it's 24-7. They're piling it on here. Look, maybe I'm off in La La Land. I don't know.
Why do you think that?
Because that's how this Titan team plays. This is how that Titan team plays, is that they just, when they play like the marquee teams this year, they just showed up. And they never took their foot off the gas against the marquee teams. They just showed up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm living in this deranged Titan fantasy land. I don't know. But again, I keep looking at the games, and I'm like, Cincinnati. Really?
Cincinnati. I mean, it would be incredibly difficult for me to say that the two best teams in each conference are going to the Super Bowl.
They earned it, though.
They earned it. I don't think that Cincinnati was the best team in the AFC. I don't think that the Rams were the best team in the NFC, but they got there. They won the games that they were supposed to win, and they got there. And credit to Cincinnati, credit to the Rams, because they won the games that they were supposed to.
Ian, how'd you feel watching the games yesterday?
Oh, it was rough. I mean, there's definitely times where I'm watching and I have to walk away, not pay attention for a while, come back, get all upset again. Kansas City looked like to me that they were just kind of running out of gas. And that just goes to show, like, when you play 2 of the playoff games and they played virtually almost like a Sunday night game by the time it was over, and an extremely emotional Sunday night game the week before. Kansas City had the extra day, and Cincinnati had the extra day, and KC just looked gassed. So I do think the Titans' pass rush would have been pretty effective. I think they would have been able to get after Mahomes.
And the other thing, too, and I thought Chad Withrow said it best on Friday on the show when he talked about the local Titans media that's like, telling the fans that they're not going to move off of Tannehill as if they know. But like that whole, eat your vegetables and like it, kind of thing when it comes to Tannehill. Watching Matthew Stafford get to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
oh, God.
It's a blueprint that the Titans absolutely could follow. And I know that there's going to be the Tannehill supporters that say, well, just because it worked out for the Rams doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work out for the Titans. And are you willing to hedge the Titans' future to do that?
Yes.
And what I say to that is the Rams didn't know it was going to work out. The Rams didn't know that they would end up in the Super Bowl this year. The Rams just knew that they weren't going to end up hoisting Lombardi with the quarterback that they did have.
Bingo! But that's where I feel like I'm becoming like that friend, right?
Yeah.
We're not doing 4 hours of Tannehill bashing today. Maybe like 2, but we are not doing 4.
That's fair. This is progress.
But it's just like, could I just watch football and not be depressed about the quarterback? No, the games did not allow it. This was like a total referendum on the situation the Titans are in. Cincinnati is going to your Super Bowl. And no disrespect to Cincinnati, but it's your fault. And I really like when it was 21 to, which by the way, Andy Reid before the half, holy crap. But when it's 21-10 at halftime, I'm like, oh, please blow these guys out. So I can't sit there and think, okay, the
what
reason
could have been
there was because of Ryan Tannehill. And that's where I am. That's where I am. And it feels like that's where you are.
I'm not quite there with you, but I'm leaning that way. I think that you're a little bit more.
Yeah, you're not a Titans fan.
No, I'm not a diehard Titans fan, no. But I think that you're wearing a wee bit of your two-tone blue glasses.
Today it is. I mean, I think you're talking to middle school Jared today. Like, I think that's who we're talking about. Like, that's where I think we are. I think Ian's kind of in the same boat with me today.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, let's get your reaction. And it can be this, like, if you want to call about this or text about this, you can, 615-737-1025. If you want your thoughts on the games, then you can get them in as well, because that's what we're doing. But this is the next topic for the next segment, which is, how bad does it hurt Titans fans that the Titans are not representing the AFC after what finally went down? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Stillman and Company, Reaction Monday. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. Caroline, though, wants to tell you about Caesar Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. It is Super Bowl bye week, but there is always plenty of action for us to talk about with the Sportsbook. So first of all, download the Caesar Sportsbook app and use code RADIO300, one word. That's code RADIO300. And if you wager exactly $20 for your first bet with Caesar Sportsbook, you will get $300 in free bets, win or lose. That is code RADIO300. Now, looking back at Championship Sunday, both of those games were 0-2 in the over-under. The opening over-under for the Super Bowl is 50, and I would feel pretty good taking the under, even though these are two quarterbacks that just absolutely love to sling it. I think that the Rams defense is just too good, and the Bengals won't be able to score enough points to hit that over. But hey, it is your money. Wager what you want to do. whatever you want to wager on, and do it with a sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older. Offer valid in Tennessee and for new users only. First cash wager of $20 only. Paid as 6 bet credits. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. Download it, people.
Every Thursday at 1 on Darren, Donick, and Chase, we're joined by Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman for the best inside knowledge on the NHL. It's all brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Now through February 2nd, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, mother of very fussy triplets and one very colicky husband.
Especially you, Supermom. You'll release endorphins and have more energy.
I remember having energy.
Start feeling fit-tacular today. Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 2nd. See club for details.
One of the smartest things you can do for the new year is convert some of your home's equity into cash. You can do it right now with a zero-cost cash-out refi from Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now. They can fast-track your home refi and get you a check for 50, 60, 70 grand or more. And if you call now, Loan Pronto can even pay your closing costs. Listen, your home value is way up. Use it to your advantage. Get cash out now. Pay off those credit card debts. Consolidate other debts. Start that home improvement project and get your finances in great shape for 2022. Loan Pronto's refis usually close in just 2 weeks, and the process is easy. It's all digital. Call Loan Pronto now. Put that equity in your home to work towards financial freedom for the new year. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Well, you know what, Greeny? That means you are getting older, and you must have had more concussions than me, because if you can't remember that Joe Burrow is a Louisiana State University Bengal Tiger, then you don't remember anything. I'm just going to be honest. Like, Joe Burrow is responsible for the 2 greatest turnarounds in this millennium, period. In this millennium, Joe Burrow is – I didn't even like Joe Burrow when he first got to school. I was like, this dude got like 16 touchdowns, 5 picks, and like he's so confident. He's walking around like he's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Well, you know what? He might dang be, Greeny. He takes the LSU Tigers from a team that our best play was the toss, pitch, dive, and then he takes it to a team that has 60 passing touchdowns.
With the quarterback blocking.
2019, the greatest college season of all time. And now the Cincinnati Bengals draft him number 1 overall. And in 2 years, he gets them to the Super Bowl, and you go to Tennessee and you win over the number 1 seed. You go to Kansas City and you beat Patrick Mahomes. And if you look at Joe Burrow throughout this whole game, even throughout the game against Tennessee, he never, ever blinked. And when you watch a dude walk into a stadium, blinged out with the coat, you can tell he's been in New Orleans way too many times, and he does not care. We gritty in, we get in the gat, we doing everything in Los Angeles because Joe Burrow is that dude, and he is now, to me, and y'all may disagree, he has now put himself at a very young age in conversations with Patrick Mahomes, with Josh Allen, with those guys that we consider elite that can carry organizations.
Oh, he's a badass. I mean, there's no, I mean,
he is that dude.
He is, like, when you read, like, I've talked about this a lot, like how I read the Tim Grover books, Michael, Kobe, Dwayne Wade's trainer, and he's always got the difference between closer, cooler, cleaner, and, like, a cleaner's like some bum, like, whatever. Closer is, you know, LeBron James, right?
Right.
Like, LeBron can win, but LeBron cares about other things, and, like, LeBron is not as obsessed with winning as Michael Jordan, Peyton Manning, Dwayne Wade, Kobe, Brady, those guys. I think Joe is. Like, I think as far as competitors concerned, I think Burrow's in that conversation. It should be noted, though, I don't know who the hell the Cincinnati defensive coordinator is, but he gives up 21 points on 3 drives in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't give up anything else the rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, the Bengals defense looked pretty god-awful in the first half.
It was
2 different games.
They
in the first
shut
and second
down
half.
the Raiders at the end of the first game. Cincinnati's defense did. I think they held the Raiders to what, like 16, 14 points, something like that. And they got a strip sack that led to getting a 10-0 lead. Bengals defense. They picked off Ryan Tannehill 3 times, thanks in large part to Ryan Tannehill. But they still picked him off. They held the Titans to 16 points. And in the second half, they totally flummoxed Andy Reid and Mahomes. Let's add him to the list. Lou Anarumo. Everybody, we got to hire all these guys. Let's talk about him for a second. Give him some credit. Because, I mean, look at the guys other than Trey Hendrickson, who they went out and they bought Trey Hendrickson. Other than that, him and Logan Wilson, the middle linebacker, everybody else, guys. Von Bell, a guy.
Eli Apple.
He stinks.
He's terrible.
Chidobe Awuzie, a guy in Dallas. There is no difference between your defense, has Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree.
Harold Landry.
You went out and got a middle linebacking tackling machine in the middle of the season, and you got an all-pro safety, and they've got Eli Apple, Von Bell, Chidobe Awuzie. Just guys. And they're totally forcing Andy Reid and Mahomes to poop their pants. That was some good coaching. But again, I asked this is what I want to start the show on. And if you're watching the stream, it's at the bottom of the screen. And it says, how bad does it hurt Titan fans that the Titans are not in the AFC or are not representing the AFC this year? The way it played out made it even worse.
Because, of course, it's going to hurt whenever your team isn't going to compete for a championship, especially when you thought that this team was poised to compete for a championship. That's going to hurt no matter what. But the way it went down does make it hurt.
I went to the Louisville-Duke basketball game on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
Everybody does this. I love Louisville. You know, we just fired our coach. We're not very good. But I go to the Louisville-Duke game. Actually, with Chad Withrow. We had a good time. And I went to the Louisville-Duke game. And we lost by, I think, like 13 or something. But we played our butts off on Saturday against the top 10 Duke team, and I don't keep up with college basketball that much, so, I don't know how good Duke is or, whatever. But I walked out of the stadium, and I'm like, we played our hearts out, whatever. The end. This one, I'm like, oh, God. Titans have lost in the playoffs before, and I have not been super affected and looked at it with like a just complete disdain for the result of other games like I did this. Like it's not the 2000 Ravens, but it's close. But when you lost to the Patriots in 03 or to the Chargers in 07 or even the Ravens in 08, it was like, yeah, okay, whatever. They were probably better. You probably weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyways. This, you could talk yourself that you weren't going to win the Super Bowl if you had to go through Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady and you didn't. Or if you had to go through Buffalo and you didn't. And then you saw how Kansas City, God. Oh, it's just so tough. And no disrespect to the Bengals. Because I do think they have a better defensive coordinator in Lou Anarumo than people give them credit for. Certainly better defensive coordinator than you probably have an offensive coordinator.
That's
fair. Also, they probably, they've got a good head coach in Joe Burrow. That I will continue to give them credit for. To your phone, 615-737-1025. Reaction Mondays powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Brandon, kick us off today. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Jared, you should absolutely spend 4 hours on Tannehill today. I would listen to all 4 hours. I was fighting with Titans fans all day. The bottom line is we would be in the Super Bowl if your quarterback didn't stick up the game. That's just the bottom line to it. Tannehill, for his career, for all Titans fans out there, he is 5-20 when he has to throw over 40 attempts, 0-3 in the postseason when he has to throw over 15 attempts in a game. That should tell you all you need to know. This Titans team does not need an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl. It is not built that way. It does need competence. And when you have a quarterback out there that plays incompetent, that is the difference between you going to a Super Bowl and being at home after your first game. Thanks.
Like, you can actually say it now. Thank you, Brandon. You can actually – I feel like if you're a Titan fan, and I think the Titan fans are kind of cut up into two separate groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that are get rid of Tannehill at all costs.
Yep.
And they're the ones that make every excuse in the book possible for Tannehill, or just saw, like Paul Kaharski tweet on Twitter, that the dead cap number is $57 million. So nobody is allowed to consider other alternatives.
That's pretty fair.
I think they're two separate categories,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I mean, if you're in that first category of like the get rid of Tannehill at all costs, you really do feel like this was your Super Bowl. Like this was your crack at it. This was, in order for things to work out, like in order for you to win the Super Bowl, and we used to talk about this all the time, you got to have certain things go the right way. Unless you've got Brady, you've got to have certain things just go the right way. And even Brady needs things to go the right way. He needed the tuck rule. He needed Malcolm Butler. He needed 28-3 Kyle Shanahan not running the ball. Like, he needed those things in some of those Super Bowls. And it's like everything fell into place for the Titans this year. Everything fell into the place. Kansas City wasn't that good. Buffalo got cold in the middle of the season, would have had to come here, lost in Kansas City. Anyway. If that game had been played in Orchard Park, the Mahomes-Allen
playing so much better than the Chiefs.
Oh, so much better. Would have run them out of the stadium. There was not a single great AFC team. Think about it. This is the first year, or next year will be the first year, where Manning, Ben, and Brady are all gone. This was it. This was your crack. This was your shot at it. And that's just how I feel. Like, I feel like this really was. And it's one thing like when everybody screwed it up in the 08 Ravens game, because that was the year that Brady got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So the 08 Ravens game, you lose the Ravens, but Lindale White fumbled, Algie Crumpler fumbled, Kerry Collins fumbled, Rob Baronis missed a field goal. Like, it was everybody. This was one guy. It was one guy. And still everybody's made excuses. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones. Plus, is it possible to feel even worse now that the Bengals are in the Super Bowl? Is it disrespectful to the Bengals? And I've got an Andy Reid take that I want to get to, and we'll do that next. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, this is Matt Duchene, and this is Smashville.
Running down the left side with Duchene. Duchene scores! Matt Duchene with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. I invite you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We're offering some exciting new menu items. We have Grandma's famous chicken and dumpling soup. We're offering a fun and new exciting Nashville hot battered shrimp. We're also very excited about our confit chicken hash. Join us in Kitchen Notes for our award-winning patty melt made with our house-made pimento cheese, local Blackhawk Farms beef patty. Come join us in Kitchen Notes and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Lunch at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Professional quilt maker Dana Balliard once said, "There are no rules in quilting, and if you think that there are, then it's time you try breaking a few." Now, I like that type of creative entrepreneurial spirit, and that's why I do my adult beverage trading at Red Spirits and Wine. It's not just a great selection of distilled spirits, single-barrel Red Select whiskeys, great wines from around the world, and awesome craft beers, but it's more the way the folks at Red just go about their business. At Red, they keep it interesting and fun. and the Cracker Jack crew makes you feel welcome after a hard day on the trail, never coming off like some of them snooty-nosed, big-talking whoop-de-doos. At Red, it's always square dealing with the best in service, selection, and prices. Plus, Red is locally owned by real folks, not some totally faceless corporation. There's no doubt in my mind, Red is my kind of place. Red Spirits and Wine, Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and at redspirits.com.
Cannonball's Covers wants you to join their team of experienced car and boat trimmers. If you want for good pay, atmosphere, and culture, you need to apply to Cannonball's Covers today. Join qualified associates in a great place to learn the craft and grow your career. If you're an experienced trimmer or are looking to elevate your career in trimming, call owner Cannonball White at 615-828-6571. Visit Cannonball's Covers on Facebook or visit their new location at 4010 Clarksville Pike for more information.
Happy New Year and Happy New You from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work, with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Nashville. This is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
And now they go deep down the field, and it is intercepted on the rebound by Bell. On Bell. Oh, he is clobbered, clotheslined at the 45. But they take over. The Bengals with the third straight game in the playoffs where they come up with a crucial pick.
There you go. Jim Nantz all over it yesterday. And Mahomes was hot garbage as soon as they screwed up the end of the first half.
That was such poor decision-making before the end of the half.
Do you blame the quarterback or the coach?
Coach.
I do too.
That was a bad decision.
I blame the coach. I mean, when you have an undisciplined, off-schedule quarterback, which is what they have, then you can't expect him to make a disciplined decision. If that's Brady, it's a different decision. But he and Brady are different players. Rodgers, not as disciplined in the game. That's how he can have these rollouts and amazing throws. Lamar Jackson, not as disciplined. Dak Prescott, clearly you can't trust to make decisions like that. But Mahomes, I mean, and so I'm sure we'll hear today as we kind of react to the fact that the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. And it is so depressing if you're a Titan fan, because this is probably the second time in 20 years where it really feels like another team is representing you in the Super Bowl. And it's Cincinnati this time. But I was thinking about this with Andy Reid, because I blame Andy Reid for the meltdown yesterday for Kansas City too.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, the book on Andy Reid, is that he was, for 15 years in the NFL, a complete choke artist. Then he won his Super Bowl, and nobody ever talked about it again. And I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. I think you can back me up on this. For all the guys that are good, that everybody considers like Hall of Famers, like I love Brady, I love Belichick, and I love Mahomes, and I love Josh Allen, and I love, Russell. And even though I can't stand Aaron Rodgers, the guy, I think he's outstanding.
Respect him as a player.
But I've never really gotten, in the year that we've worked together, on the Andy Reid bandwagon. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because every time I do, and myself, someone else, if there's a conversation in the media, speaking Andy Reid's praises, you do always bring up the choking in the past.
And look, I like Andy Reid, the guy. I mean, I don't know Andy, but a couple years ago at the Combine, he was going to come on with us, and he was going to come on at a time that Bill O'Brien was going to come on at like 3:15. Andy was going to come on at 3:45. Bill was late. Andy was early. So Bill and Andy came at the same time, and Andy just stood there and waited for us. And the Chiefs PR guy was all over Chase, like, Andy's got to go, Andy's got to go. And Andy's like, no, I'm good. I'll wait for Floyd's show. And we were like, cool. So I like Andy fine. But the dude's a choker in the playoffs. And you go back to it, like all these times in his career in the NFL, first in the NFC East in 2001, lost in the championship game, lost at home to the Buccaneers in the championship game in 2002. Talk about another one of your Super Bowls, perhaps. Lost to Carolina at home in the NFC championship game in 2003. Lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and that was a game where T.O. went absolutely off in the playoffs. Lost first in the AFC, in the NFC, lost to New Orleans in the divisional round. Like, Andy has lost so many games over the years. He lost. They had like an insurmountable lead on the road at Indianapolis one year, and he lost in the wild card round in that game. Like, it was 28 points or something that they blew in the second half. Kind of like yesterday's game.
But is that not proof enough of just how much damage control winning a Super Bowl can do?
For some people it can, for some people it can't. But I go on, like, thinking about this. He lost to the Steelers at home in the divisional round of the playoffs, which was like the Alex Smith game where they decided, okay, we're getting a new quarterback.
Right.
He lost to the Titans with Mariota at home in the playoffs. He lost to Brady at home in the AFC Championship game, in a game that they had 18 chances to win. You know, D Ford lines up offsides on the game-ending interception, and the Patriots end up winning that one. Then he wins the Super Bowl. And this is the point I'm getting to with Andy Reid, because I thought Andy Reid choked away yesterday's game. What was Andy Reid's road to getting the Super Bowl? At home against the Texans.
Uh-huh.
So they beat the Texans, Bill O'Brien's Texans. Down 17-7 to Tannehill. Jimmy Garoppolo in the Super Bowl. That's it. Last year they get to the Super Bowl. They're big favorites against Tampa Bay. Lose because it's Brady. This year, lose. I mean, like, they lose he loses as favorites all the time, except when he has to play Tannehill and Jimmy G. So is it wrong for, like, I'm trying to not, again, we're 30 minutes into the radio show today. I'm trying not to do 4 hours of Tannehill bashing. Is it wrong for me not to look at this and go, oh, my God, we talked all week about, is Andy Reid going to choke this playoff game away? The Titans had a 17-7 lead. It was 21-17 the second half when the Titans got the ball, and Tannehill did nothing with it in the second half of that Chiefs game. Is it wrong now to be like, oh, my God, that game that you said, well, you got to the AFC Championship game. Nobody expected it. You guys played hard, lost to a better team in Kansas City. Great season, move on. Is it now like, oh, God, if it wasn't Tannehill, that Titan team would have gone to the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's easier to say that now looking back, seeing that it has become a trend.
That it was a trend before, and it was a trend after.
Yep.
Oh, God.
To know that, because we've gotten a lot of text, tweets, whatever it may be about, well, you think Kansas City wants to run Patrick Mahomes out of town because he threw a couple interceptions against the Bengals and lost them that AFC Championship
game? Andy Reid has already been run out of one town for choking away too many playoff games.
But also, that's not a habitual thing for Patrick Mahomes. He's won a Super Bowl in Kansas City. This is a habitual thing for Ryan Tannehill. He has not brought a Super Bowl to this town, and Ryan Tannehill does not deserve the benefit of the doubt.
It would be a thing on Mahomes. It would be.
But he won a Super Bowl.
If he didn't run into Tannehill and Jimmy Garoppolo.
But he did. And he won a Super Bowl.
And that's why I told you all. That's why I've talked about this so many times, and people just don't listen. But I've talked about it so many. The road to the Super Bowl is as important as anything else. Because by a week 17 into the season, random win by the Miami Dolphins in 2019, the road to the Super Bowl for Mahomes and Reid went from having to play the Titans at home, go on the road to Brady, on the road to MVP Lamar Jackson. It instead was home against the Texans, home against Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm convinced that Tannehill and Garoppolo are the two worst winning quarterbacks in the NFL.
But which also goes back to this was such a legitimate shot for the Titans because their road was so easy. Potentially so. I mean, I say easy. I understand it's the NFL playoffs and it's not going to be easy. But the road is so important.
I got to be honest.
The quarterbacks you face, the teams you play, the bye that you may or may not get.
It makes me want Tannehill out of here more. This past
I didn't think you could want Tannehill out of here more.
It makes me want him out of here. I told you, I'm turning into the friend that nobody wants to have, who will not shut up about something. I told you on Friday, I think it's going to drive me crazy.
I think it has.
Then we bring Mike Tannenbaum on the radio show, and Mike Tannenbaum just starts talking about, oh, yeah, but a good player had a bad day.
Good player, bad day. How many bad days does a good player get before they're not a good player?
I'm going to be like, Mike, this is why you work for ESPN now.
Okay, I'm glad that you didn't.
This is why. Because it'll get you fired. Tommy is up next. Thank you for waiting here on the program. Go ahead, Tommy. Tommy. All right, you know the number. Call us back. It said in the box, Tannehill defense. So
here we are.
I honestly, I don't know how you can really have a defense for Tannehill, but I know what they all are now, right? Like, I know it's Downing. It's not Tannehill. I asked a former offensive coordinator who, coached in the NFL. I asked a former offensive coordinator, and I was like, how do you judge play callers? Like, how do you judge people who, call plays and, whatever? And he was like, yeah, I mean, hold on. I'll tell you exactly what he said. Because I think this is probably more accurate. Now, look, I'm not a huge Downing guy by any stretch of the imagination, but said experience, preparation, and lessons learned, and you got to have a little luck, and you're only as good as your last game. So, basically, I think that's the coach's way of saying there's no way to really tell.
Right.
Like, for the fans to be able to tell on Downing one way or another. What do we have in the text line?
One texter texts into the text line and says, oh, what a fickle town of Titan fans we are. When Tannehill first became the starter, we were cheering at the top of our lungs.
Yep.
Now we want to tar and feather him and run him out of town.
Yep. But you know what that is? That is realizing that you made a bad decision. That I have taken full responsibility for. Have I not?
Yes.
The fact that I thought Tannehill over Brady. I thought, Brady's too old. This offense flows with Tannehill. I did not look at the AFC Championship game loss 2 years ago. Like, yesterday's game reminded me so much of the Titans game, like the team that wasn't supposed to be there, that has a good player, that's on a hot streak, that's surprising people, that's got the it factor. And Cincinnati won their game.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati won their game. And Joe didn't play Joe wasn't. I'm not taking anything away from Joe Burrow, because if there was an MVP of the playoffs award, he would get it. But Joe Burrow was not Superman yesterday. He was good.
He was good.
But he was not Superman. And that's the thing is, like Brady, when he went in there and won in 2018, was freaking Superman. You don't need Superman. You just need better than Ryan Tannehill.
You just need to take care of the football.
You just need better than Ryan Tannehill. And again, I think it's going to drive me crazier. It's probably already gotten there a little bit.
It has a little bit.
I feel bad. I mean, I see people that tweet me and stuff and are like, I can't listen to you for 4 hours a day on Tannehill. I'm like, I can't do this for 4 hours a day. But then I watch a game like yesterday, and then I watch the other game where the other team had the stones to get rid of their guy. Oh, and it drives me crazy. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones. By the way, there's another quarterback who stinks, who got his team into the playoffs. I think I know who we're talking about, because it ain't Brady, it ain't Dak, it ain't Rodgers, it ain't Allen, it ain't Burrow. I mean, there's really only two guys that, Ben's retired. And I wonder if the defenders there can pipe it now after yesterday, too. We'll discuss that next. 615-737-1025. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Nashville's best deal of the week is the Mainstay Bar and Grill in East Nashville. The Mainstay is located at 501 Main Street and is your local spot to enjoy all of your sports along with great food and friends. With over 25 TVs, 20 taps, and nightly events like trivia, karaoke, and much more. The Mainstay Bar and Grill, good drinks, good people, good times. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get half off a $30 gift card to the Mainstay while supplies last. Check out all of Nashville's best deals now at theGameNashville.com/deals.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center, I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. We'll see some sunshine this afternoon. High temperature up to 53 degrees. 60s for the day on Tuesday, and then storms moving back in midweek.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
If you suffer from chronic joint pain, don't assume that steroid shots, pain pills, and surgery are your only options. You can call now to get real, lasting, life-changing relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using biologic therapies to repair damaged tissue in your aching joints. The success rate is staggering. People with knee and back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, they're moving again, enjoying life again with help from QC Kinetics. This advanced, unique treatment protocol uses natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joint, going to work to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. A truly regenerative treatment. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Finally, a new, different, highly successful approach to dealing with joint pain. Is it time you got a second opinion? Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Progressive is America's #1 motorcycle insurer, so we understand motorcycles. No, really, we have a bike translator.
Okay, this is awkward, but this bike says he'd appreciate it if you removed his skull pattern saddlebags. He feels self-conscious about them around all the other bikes, and he says you're not fooling anyone. You mostly ride with your golfing buddies. Listen, I'm just the messenger here. Oh, no, I don't want to say that. I think you made yourself clear.
Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robbie and Rexroad. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Garoppolo under pressure. Donald got there in the air, intercepted by the Rams, and they may ride to the Super Bowl on that.
That's kind of our year in a nutshell. You know, we were 3-5 at one point. People wrote us off. And we just kept fighting. That's what good teams do. That's what tight brothers do, and I got no regrets from this year. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That was Jimmy Garoppolo. So I just have to ask, before we get back to your phones, are we officially done with the narrative of, hey, you don't have to have a good quarterback to win because you can win with Jimmy Garoppolo? And are we done with the, hey, everybody owes Jimmy an apology because Jimmy got them to the NFC title game? Like, to me, that last drive was the last drive for the Jimmy G supporters.
And I don't really think that Jimmy G was in that game yesterday because of anything that he did in the playoffs. I think the teams that they played beat themselves, and the 49ers were just beneficiaries of it. So, yes, I'm in on that.
I mean, here's the thing that's crazy. Jimmy was terrible in the Dallas game, led Dallas back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible against the Packers, but he got a blocked punt, a blocked field goal, and all the other things. Made the one throw he needed to Deebo Samuel. And he was pretty awful. This was his best game, in my opinion, of watching the 3 playoff games they played. This was his best game. And still at the end, plenty of time to go down the field and kick a field goal. You had a timeout. You were fine. He's got better weapons than everybody else. Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings. He's got running backs he can throw to. Probably got one of the best play callers in the NFL. He just dumped his pants right there in that last drive. And you could feel the panic in Los Angeles on the couch in Nashville.
And why have we labeled Jimmy G as, a quarterback that you can't win a Super Bowl with? Because
they
it
got
happens
there
habitually.
Well, they got there. They got there with him.
Yeah, they did. And that's why they drafted another quarterback.
And why did they lose that game? Because he missed Emmanuel Sanders wide open in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, why did they not win? 2 reasons. One, the poor kid dropped the ball on the interception, which is bad, but defensive backs drop the ball all the time.
I'm not going to put that loss on his shoulders.
No.
That's not his job.
And secondly, because Jimmy's not very good. Now, you know what I did think was interesting about Jimmy? Did you see the Raiders hire Josh McDaniels?
I did.
I wonder if his plan is going to be move off of Carr, get a bunch of draft picks in exchange for Carr, and then sign Jimmy. Because
maybe so. I mean,
he got rid of Jay Cutler in Denver because he wanted Matt Castle, and Matt Castle was the backup to Brady in New England, and then Josh McDaniels, and so they've now got a Patriots general manager and a Patriots coach. You trade Carr, pick up all the picks, you sign Jimmy because they love Patriot guys to be Patriot guys quarterbacks, and it wouldn't surprise me. I just don't think you can win with Jimmy. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025, where our phone lines are always driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Carl is up next. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Carl.
Hello?
Go ahead, Carl.
So I just had a question for you. I know you're actively wanting to get rid of Ryan Tannehill, but when it comes to whatever quarterback that you would like to come back in, how do you think the offense would work bringing in a quarterback like, say, Brady or Rodgers, who tends to throw the ball 200 and 300 times more than Tannehill, with Henry at running back?
I'm fine with
some point. Well, my question is, at some point, either Henry has to give up rushes or that quarterback has to give up pass attempts, because I don't think it's sustainable. So,
I have no problem with that. Thank you for your call, Carl. I have no problem with that. I have zero problem with that. The idea of, now you're not going to run the ball as much as you run it if Russell Wilson is quarterback. Okay. So I throw it more with Russell? Okay. So I throw it more with Rodgers? Okay. So Derrick Henry has to come off the field more because I want to put on more of a pass-catching running back? I'm okay with that. I love Derrick. I think Derrick might be the best player in the NFL. But you can't win the way things are right now. You cannot win. Can you win the other ways? I don't know.
And we also talk about windows a lot. How open is Derrick Henry's window?
I think it's a good question.
We
always talked about
reality.
Could you give him the ball as much as they gave him before he'd break down? And even if it wasn't a wear and tear injury, which I don't think it was, but even if it was not a wear and tear injury, he already got hurt. And so it had already slowed up your season this year. He wasn't the same guy in the playoff game, whether that was Lou Anamoro or whatever the guy's name is in Cincinnati's defense, whether that was the fact that Derrick wasn't the same, I don't know. But you've already gotten there where now the injury has become a thing, and it's again, I know that you can't win with Tannehill. The end. I know it. Just people know certain things, and they're wrong sometimes. These people that are COVID's the flu. It's not, but you know that. You know in your head. If you think that, you know it. You're wrong, but you think it.
But you think it's right.
I know you can't win with Tannehill. Might be wrong. Tannehill may go out there, have the season to believe, and next year when he's on the podium and Terry Bradshaw or whoever's handing him the trophy, and, Ryan Tannehill, what'd you think of that one? Yeah, it's a really great team effort, Terry. I just want to thank everybody out there that supported the Titans. And F you, Jared Stillman, for all the things that you said when we lost last year.
We're going to Disney World.
Fine. Whatever. I mean, but I'm telling you can't win with Tannehill. I'm just telling you.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that the next quarterback that the Titans bring in are going to bring them to a Super Bowl the first season that they're here, like Matthew Stafford and the Rams. But I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. If Stafford had lost to Brady the other day, people would have said, well, should they have made the trade because they got just as far? You got to be willing to take that risk. I'm just telling you, I am willing to get fired. If I am Vrabel and Robinson, I am willing to get fired over moving off of Tannehill. I am willing to go in and say, all right, we're moving on. And then in 2 years, we don't win a Super Bowl, and we have a mess at quarterback, kind of like Tampa Bay now without the Super Bowl last year. We have a mess at quarterback, and I don't know what we're going to do, and we go 6-11, and I get fired. I can live with that. I can't live with going in with Tannehill next year, getting knocked out in the AFC Championship game because a team with a better quarterback ends up, scoring 23 points, and my quarterback can't get me more. They scored 13 against the Ravens last year and 16 this year against the Bengals. That is pathetic in the 2022 NFL. So I'm ready to move on. And they can say whatever they want because I do wonder what the Titans think. They won't tell us. But privately, I wonder what they think. Now, I do have a little bit of good news that I'll share later in the show. But there is a little bit of an element in this week that might be very advantageous to Titans fans. I'll just say it now. So Brady is not going to participate in the Pro Bowl because he's hurt. So he's not going to participate in the Pro Bowl. So Russell Wilson is replacing Tom Brady in the Pro Bowl. Mike Vrabel is coaching in the Pro Bowl.
Interesting.
They stay at the same hotel. They can run into each other.
They can chit-chat about the future.
If you read Peter King's Monday Morning Quarterback, there's a discussion about how McVay and Stafford were staying at the same Cabo San Lucas resort last year. Mm-hmm. And that was, which is weird because it sounds like blatant tampering. But I guess it's all shrug it off, which I've told you on the Russell front. Tamper. Go tamper. I don't care. If you get docked a 6th round pick in 3 years because you tampered for Russell Wilson, I could not give two poops. But I'm just saying, Russell's going to be in the Pro Bowl. Vrabel is coaching the Pro Bowl. Wouldn't surprise me, run into each other. Oh, Russell, I have a lot of respect for you. Mike, have a lot of respect for you. Okay, let's see where that goes. 615-737-1025. Speaking of Brady, what a weekend there. I got a bunch of thoughts on that. Next, Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app, and it is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. To celebrate new customers, you can bet $5 to win $280 in cash on either team to win when you use the promo code JGM when registering. That's right. You'll get your winnings in cold, hard cash because we know cash is always better than free bets. This game, for some reason, I still can't buy the Bengals, and I can't stand the Rams coach, but I guess I'll probably take them, honestly. There's no better place to bet Super Bowl 56 than FanDuel. Promotions for new and existing customers. They've got same-game parlays when you combine small bets for bigger wins. Don't miss your chance to turn $5 into $280 in cash. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use the promo code JGM to make every moment more. Again, promo code JGM exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus, $280. Bonus for Tennessee users filled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are two guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Your home value is way up. Why not use that equity to make your house even nicer for the new year? Hey, Willie Donick here talking about a cash-out refi with Loan Pronto. So call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the new year, and people are getting checks for $60, $70, $100 grand or more. And right now, Loan Pronto can even cover all your closing costs. Listen, your home's value is way up. All you have to do is convert that equity into cash. Cash for a new luxurious kitchen or a new home office, or start that swimming pool so you can use it for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. You can even close in as little as 2 weeks with a big check. Do it now and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So make 2022 the year you fix up your home and reinvest with Loan Pronto's help. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and I want to talk to you about my friends at Creation CBD. You're hearing me talk about them every single day because they present Darren, Donick, and Chase, and we are proud to be associated with them and happy about it. And if you have aches and pains, on your body, whether it's from working out, being active, getting older, and you're looking for a solution, well, I've got it. Creation CBD. Creation means healing, and that says a lot. Creation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here in Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Creation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use, including your pets. And you've heard me tell this story. Our female German Shepherd has had seizures for over 3 years, and lots of them. No matter how many pills a day she was on, the vet visits, nothing changed. But since putting her on the pet tincture, everything has changed. The seizures have stopped, she's lost weight, and she's a dog again. Right now, Creation CBD has got a special offer for DDC listeners. Go to CreationCompany.com, get 25% off your order by using the code DDC25 at checkout. DDC25 at checkout for 25% off your Creation CBD products. It's Creation CBD, curated for life.
Hockey fans, tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every Wednesday morning at 9:30 for expert commentary on the Predators and the NHL with the Preds beat writer from The Athletic, Adam Vingan. Brought to you by the Bank of England Mortgage.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus.com, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So Tom Brady retired on Saturday. I'm at the Louisville basketball game, and Caroline texts me.
I did. I said, how we doing over there?
And I asked, what are you talking about?
And I was a little bit nervous that I was the one to break the news to you.
And you said... oh, go check out Schefter's Twitter.
Uh-huh.
And I went and I looked at it and I saw Tom Brady retiring, and I had a couple of cocktails, and I was bummed.
And even if it wasn't cocktail influenced, I think you would have been equally as bummed.
I was bummed.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that was, oh no, Jared's crushed.
I was bummed.
I know.
I was bummed. Then I found out it may not be the case. I was like, wait a minute. Everyone's like, hold the phone.
The whole thing felt weird from the very beginning.
It's like they're challenging the call on the field. Everybody wait. And it comes out, Tom Brady Sr. tells Mike Giardi of the NFL Network that Tom hasn't made a decision. Brady calls the Buccaneers and says, I haven't made a decision. And everybody who covers the Buccaneers put out at one time, and you know this because I've been on the receiving end of some of these calls, but if you see that everybody is putting out at one time, so if all of a sudden, if TD and Joe and Paul Kaharski and everybody here starts saying, hey, according to sources, this is going, it means that the Titans are telling you.
Right.
So when the guy who covers the Buccaneers for The Athletic says, according to sources, and the woman who covers the Buccaneers for ESPN says, according to sources, Brady has told the Bucs he hasn't made up his mind yet. when all that happens, that tells me that the Buccaneers are saying Tom hasn't made up his mind. Schefter then goes on TV at halftime of a basketball game. I think at halftime of Kentucky and Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And Schefter doubles down and says he stands by the report. Darlington stands by the report, which we'll get to him in a second because he matters more to me in this than Schefter. And ESPN says that they stand by this report. So Brady came out, through his people, his dad. The same people that complain about Belichick are the same people that are coming out today and saying that it's not the case. But now ESPN has been approaching this totally crazily, right? So, for example, I think Brady's going to retire. Like, I feel pretty good about it that the writing's on the wall, that Tom Brady's going to retire, and that now it's just a matter of when, not if, and it makes sense because Brady doesn't want to screw the Buccaneers over and wait till the last minute to make a decision, but at the same time, he doesn't want to overshadow the conference championship games. I mean, here we are on a Monday in Nashville, Tennessee, talking about it at 3 o'clock, whereas if this hadn't come out this weekend, we wouldn't be talking about it at all.
No.
So he doesn't want to overshadow the guys that are currently playing, doesn't want to overshadow the Super Bowl and how big it is, and because it's pushed back a week and everything else, it's kind of hard to find the happy medium, and I get it. But I say all of this because something doesn't feel right. And this may be where Brady's business relationship with ESPN maybe is affecting the news portion of the relationship. If Adam Schefter is going to stand by it when Tom Brady Sr. is saying it's not true, no offense, who do we think has a more direct line to the GOAT?
I would say probably his dad.
Okay. So when Brady, this ain't Aaron Rodgers Sr., this is Brady Sr. So when Brady Sr. says it's bullcrap, that's a really big red flag. I believe Schefter. Like, I believe that somebody, and Darlington's a part of this, and I really believe Darlington. So a couple of years ago, Jeff Darlington, ESPN, a couple of years ago, Darlington went on television and said Brady is seriously considering leaving the Patriots. And we had Jeff Darlington on the show because Darlington said the Titans would probably be his preferred destination. And I listened to Boston radio, and they were like, Darlington is the Brady mouthpiece. And I'm sitting there telling the old man, I'm like, yo, they say that if Darlington's saying it, like, it might be real. And he was like, no, whatever. But Darlington is standing by this report, too. Jason LaCanfora essentially reported the same thing on Friday. It's just nobody believes anything that he reports because he's reported a lot of incorrect stuff over the years. And everything that has come out of ESPN is the assumption that Brady's going to retire. So when the woman who covers the Bucs for NFL Nation tweeted out what all the other Bucs writers were tweeting out, the Rick Strouds of the Tampa Bay Times, I think it's Greg Allman of The Athletic, Jenna Lane covers the Bucs for ESPN Nation. So when she said, sources say that Brady called the Bucs and told him he hasn't made up his mind, she also said, but people are still, like the ESPN line, that people are expecting at the end of the day that Tom Brady will retire from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL.
Well, because ESPN's guys were reporting that it was true and doubling down that it was true.
But it doesn't matter. Like, I hear you, but the ESPN editors, I guarantee you, knew who the source was before Adam Schefter put out there.
Probably so.
That's how this works.
Yeah.
In this industry is you have to tell your editors. So they knew who the source was. They cleared it to put it out there. You don't put out Tom Brady's retiring unless you know Tom Brady's retiring. So they put it out there. Then they stood by it because I guarantee you, Jimmy Pitaro, the president of ESPN, I guarantee you he knows Tom Brady Sr. is disputing the Adam Schefter report.
Mm-hmm.
So when he sees Brady Sr.'s coming out and all these other people are coming out saying Tom has not made up his mind, you know that the president, this is the highest level now of ESPN. You know the president's on the phone like, are we sure? Because to me, if Schefter gets this wrong, and there's a part of me that kind of hopes Brady's like, screw the media. They ruined my retirement announcement. So I'll play anyways. I'll show them. And I'm kind of hopeful that's what he does because I just want to see Brady play more. But if Brady plays next year, I think this is like, and Schefter's been wrong before, but this is probably like he's got to go.
Well, this is monumental. This is the greatest player in the history of the sport, and you are misreporting his retirement. That is huge. But I also go back to, I'm sure that they had very trusted sources, and they put that out there believing wholeheartedly that it was true. TB12, the official Twitter account of Tom Brady's company, tweeted about his retirement and then deleted it. I do think that there is a good bit of truth that Tom Brady decided to retire. The news came out before he wanted to announce it. He wanted to retire in his way. He wanted to make the announcement. He wanted to make sure that everything was buttoned up.
Because his agent, Don Yee, came out Don Yee said that when Tom has made a decision, Tom will be
He'll
the one
tell
who
you.
shares. Right.
So I do think that there is a good bit of truth to Tom Brady wanted to do it his way, and then ESPN meddled into it and broke the story, and now he's like, okay, either I wasn't for sure, I hadn't made up my mind, or now that you did that you went behind my back and reported it so I couldn't do it my way, screw you guys. I don't believe he's retiring.
Oh, he's retiring.
I don't think he is. I do believe that that when all of this stuff came out, it was in good sourcing, but now I don't think he is.
I do not think you can have Adam Schefter on television in the role that he's in if Tom Brady plays football next year. This is, and Schefter's been wrong before, but this is like boy who cried wolf now.
But is this not also on the shoulders of the ESPN editors and the people who gave Schefter and Darlington the green light?
I'm not sure that those people represent what Schefter represents.
They don't.
This is one of those ones where this is why the people in front of the camera make more money than the people behind the camera.
Yeah, that's true.
This is Schefter's thing. And we've laughed. I mean, I feel like once a week there is an Adam Schefter report that is complete and total bullcrap. That is 100% carrying water for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Last week, we laughed about the report Nathaniel Hackett, the Packers offensive coordinator, is hired in Denver.
It's not to get Aaron Rodgers.
They hired him because they think he's a great leader. It has nothing to do with Aaron.
We're smarter than
that. Why is the only other person that they really seriously interviewed for the job the quarterback coach in Green Bay? Well, because, it's obvious. Remember the Dalvin Cook thing a couple of weeks ago where Dalvin Cook, the agent, went to Schefter and was like, there's going to be a domestic report, but Dalvin was the victim. So Schefter puts out there that Dalvin Cook was the victim, and then it comes out that Dalvin was not the victim.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I'm sorry about that one. And then remember the leaked emails where there was the leaked email where he sent it to the president of Washington and was like, thank you, Mr. Editor, for my story.
Look through the story, make sure that everything's correct.
So if Schefter's wrong about this, he's the biggest phony in all of sports. I already think he's a pretty big phony, but this is all-time phoniness.
I mean, Tom Brady's retirement is like a monumental moment in football.
He's going to retire, though. And ESPN is still treating it. I went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers page on ESPN. Apparently there's a thing. Stephen A., bright time for Brady to walk away. And it's like, Brady hasn't retired yet. At least they say at least his agent and dad say he hasn't retired yet. And his team. I mean, no offense to Schefter, but I don't think Schefter's, got the direct line to Brady like the team, the dad, and the agent.
Until it comes out of Tom Brady's mouth at a press conference, I don't believe it.
What if Brady had a bone to pick with Schefter and was like, I'm going to make him look bad?
That is so petty. That is next level pettiness.
Well, remember when Peyton Manning announced his retirement from the NFL, it was Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter who reported the news. Mm-hmm. But Mort was always, he was always kind of a water carrier for the Mannings. Mm-hmm. Mort was going through cancer treatments. And Manning called Mort in the way it's been told to me.
Right.
Manning called Chris Mortensen while he was getting treatments at the hospital and told him, hey, I want you to have this. Go ahead and put this out that I'm going to be announcing my retirement. So it doesn't sound like Brady was doing that because Brady doesn't seem very happy.
It just doesn't sound right.
So what do we make of it? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. What do you make of the Brady Retirement, not retired. I think he's going to retire. And Caroline thinks no. So we'll discuss that next. 615-737-1025. Get a reaction. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Nashville's own Jason Fitz with Jarrett Stillman and Company. Fitz started his sports talk career right here on 1025 The Game, and now he anchors shows for ESPN. Jason Fitz is brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood. Give local. Give life.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. The Goblet has dropped. Download it. Must be 21 and up.
Hal Gill here from my good friends at Dunkin'. I grew up with Dunkin' in Boston, and I'm so happy that Nashville has my favorite coffee. Stop by the newest next-gen Dunkin' location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard today. Heads up for a fun grand opening celebration coming on January 21st with all kinds of giveaways. Try the new omelet bites with bacon and cheddar or brown sugar cookie cold brew. Either way, go get your Dunks.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and I'm excited to tell you about our friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and their heating and air stimulus plan. If your AC or heating unit is old and inefficient, then you need to take advantage of their special offer right now. They will double your tax refund up to $1,000. Huge savings with Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Get a York unit that lasts with a 10-year parts and labor warranty with up to 60 months, no interest financing on all York units. Restrictions do apply. Schedule now at springhillac.com. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York certified comfort expert company.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Around the world, generations of leaders build new friendships and solve problems, turning great ideas into reality. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org/action.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people. It takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
When you played at the level that he did, Jeff, this past year, what are the percentage of the chances? None of your reporter would prefer not to speculate, but what about the chances that he could change his mind, get the fever, get the itch, want to come back as the season gets closer?
From what I understand, that's never really been the way Tom has been. He didn't even he was pretty adamant all along. He didn't want some kind of farewell tour, the likes of which we saw with Ben Roethlisberger the past several weeks of this season. That's just not his style, from what I'm told. He would prefer to kind of do it this way, to just sort of maybe catch people off guard a little bit, if you can do that at 44 years old. So ultimately, I think that this decision at this point is one that kind of makes him happiest the way he likes to go about things.
There you go, Jeff Darlington saying Brady's not going to change his mind. They are doubling and tripling down on their report that Tom Brady is retiring. I saw somebody had texted in and said, well, who cares? Who cares if Tom Brady retires? he's the greatest football player in the history of the sport, I think people care. I mean, I would just say that considering that a 20-year-old documentary about the best basketball player who ever lived averaged more than league championship series games in baseball do, more viewers, I'd say people cared about that. And no disrespect to Michael, and I love Michael with all of my heart, but Tom Brady is bigger than Michael because football is bigger than basketball. And so, I mean, I think people care about this. I care about it. I know I do. I mean, I'm a Brady honk, but, like, I do. Here's something that bothers me, though, going back to the whole Schefter, Darlington, everything else. Mm-hmm. And this has to do with the media. Like, Ian, you remember in the old days of this show that if the media reported something, the GM was always infinitely skeptical of it, right?
Pretty much.
And Joe Rexrode would, like, take personal offense to Floyd's total skepticism about everything that's reported. Like, could you imagine, Ian, if he were around and this story came out and he denied it? And you got the media people saying, no, we think it's true. And, like, the dad, the agent, and who's the other one?
The team.
The team are saying no. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
Oh, he would have a field day with this one.
Oh
boy.
God. So, like, the Joes of the world get mad because anything that's reported, they just assume is true. They're like, no, these people, this business, they're too good. And I think, like, Joe's kind of approach on stuff like that is a lot why a lot of Americans, like, hate the media, is because there's such little accountability. And I'll give you an example. Peter King went on Colin Cowherd on Friday. And Colin Cowherd asked Peter King, what did he think was going to happen with Brady? And Peter King is supposedly, like, the guru of football, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you got to at least, be kind of right or have opinions or whatever. And Peter King was talking about how he doesn't know Brady very well, but he knows him well enough that Brady probably needs to take 6 weeks off to think about it. That Brady probably needs to go. He's got a home in Indian Creek, Florida, which is like, prices, like houses
like
there start at like $25 million, and they have their own police force for 40 people.
Chump change.
So Brady lives out there. Like, I think he's like neighbors with like Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. Like, that's who lives out there. And so they got a house there. They got a house in Costa Rica. They got a cabin in Montana. They got, just go there, spend some time, take time off. He said this on Friday, Peter King did, that he thinks he's going to take time and figure it out. This morning, I'm reading the Football Morning in America column, and Peter King writes in there, quote, the denials Saturday were too soft, too tentative, too non-denial. If Jeff Darlington and Adam Schefter were overreaching with their report Saturday that Tom Brady was retiring after 22 years atop the football mountain, we'd have heard more insistent pushback. It's very likely a matter of time before Brady officially retires. So Peter King, who has gone to Brady's cabin in Montana and interviewed Brady, is saying, well, they didn't push hard enough on the report, so what I believed Friday is no longer true, and this is what? What? Like, this is the way I took it, was when Brady Sr., the agent, and the team come out and say that report's not true.
I have to side with them.
You have to believe that the report is not true. But the media people will not get off the fact that there's no way that this report could be not true.
Which I also think is an extension of everyone hates the media, so who is going to support the media other than other members of the media?
Well, I think this is why people hate the media, like chicken
It's because it's incorrect things, and I think a lot of times with reporting, especially in sports reporting, like, nobody's going to die. We're not working with life or death situations here.
Well, and here's the thing.
But it's irresponsible.
I think Adam Schefter should be fired if this report is not true. Like, if Tom Brady comes out tomorrow and says that report was all crap and I'm playing and go Bucks, if that's the case, I believe Adam Schefter should be fired. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you think that's kind of harsh, don't you?
A little. Yes, but I understand that this is probably the biggest story in football of the last, how many years?
We sit on television and radio, and we sit here and talk about the players. And, Ryan Tannehill throws these interceptions. He should be fired. That coach lost that game. He should be fired. But then when in the media you make a mistake, you shouldn't be held accountable for it.
You should be.
So this is the single biggest mistake Adam Schefter could make if it's a mistake, right?
Probably so, yes.
Damaging his credibility permanently.
Yes.
Like Brian Williams, when he was at NBC, lied about, what was it, Iraq, Ian, I think? Afghanistan? One of the two.
I can't quite remember.
He lied about being in Iraq or Afghanistan, or I can't even remember. Because it
like
wasn't
in a helicopter.
Right, because it didn't matter that much to us, honestly, us as a society.
Right.
Like, it was like, oh, Brian Williams lied. Like, Manti Te'o lied. Okay. Like, but it didn't. And he lost the nightly news job. Like, Brian Williams, goodbye. 2 years, see ya. Then he's got to go to cable news and not the nightly news because he lied.
Is there not a...
This is bigger than that because more people care about this.
Is there not a big difference between blatantly lying and jumping the gun on a report?
No, not in this case.
Why?
Because one, he doubled down on it.
That is...
So, I mean, he really pushed the chips in the middle. Two, this is not Adam Schefter's first infraction in this kind of stuff.
No, it's not.
And three, this is the biggest story maybe in the history of the NFL because it is the greatest player in the history of the NFL. And it was definitive. It was, because remember, Lockhan Fora's report on Friday with CBS was very, it was 90% definitive. This was 100% definitive, and this was Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington, but I blame Schefter because Schefter's the big face here. It was Adam Schefter saying it, and if Schefter is wrong, then Schefter's got to go, just like we talk about all these players and coaches that have to go.
If Tom Brady does retire, I don't think that Adam Schefter should just be completely off the hook.
Because
there was something
you don't think Schefter's right either way, do you?
Because I think that everything that went down on Saturday was a little shady.
Like the Darlington element of this is what gets me.
That's another
he's
thing
in the camp.
And because you said he is the mouth of Tom Brady. In the media, Jeff Darlington is Tom Brady's guy.
Someone in Brady camp go rogue or something?
So what do you think would have to count as a source that ESPN would let you roll with this? And I off the top of my head, Giselle.
Brady himself.
Brady.
Arians.
Brady Sr. I'd say the Buccaneers. So Arians
agent,
are liked.
Does his agent count?
His agent.
Agent. Guerrero.
I think that's fair.
Nobody else.
Teammate?
No.
Gronk?
No. I talked to somebody who is in the Brady Circle of Trust Saturday, like 20 minutes before you texted me.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, so is Tom going to retire? And he said no. And that's somebody I promise you, in the Brady Circle of Trust. And so, and then I saw that, and I was literally telling people, like, I just talked to so-and-so, and he said that Brady wasn't going to retire, and now he's saying Brady's going to, like a laughing. So I don't think you can run with that if it's like a former teammate. Hold that thought. We're to your phones next. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Furniture has never been easier to buy than now at Social Furniture. All the 2022 sofas, sectionals, and mattresses are arriving daily with the latest styles and colors ready for delivery. All furniture at Social is top quality solid woods and designer fabrics. There's no waiting, and they have same-day delivery for your convenience. Use their financing and pay no money down and pay no interest for 1 full year. Buy local, support Social. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-819-1120. That's 800-819-1120. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-819-1120 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I have it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Now through February 2nd, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, mother of very fussy triplets and one very colicky husband.
Especially you, Supermom. You'll release endorphins and have more energy.
I remember having energy.
Start feeling fit-tacular today. Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 2nd. See club for details.
Every Wednesday at 4, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexroad for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takauchi dealer.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
I'm happy he's walking. Yeah. Because he leaves the game still spectacular. He goes out, you're down 27-3, you come back and tie the score. That's how you go out. And they have to go down, and it's a super pass from Stafford to Cooper Kupp that puts them in field goal range, so they can kick the winning field goal and L.A. can advance and send the Tampa Bay Buccaneers home. But also some of the things that he had to deal with. Giselle has been on the record revealing years ago, I believe it was 2017, where she said he would come home with concussions, even though he had never been listed as having a concussion. She talked about some of the things that she has to experience at home. And obviously, as his wife, she experiences things with him that none of us ever do. And so when you look at it from that perspective and he starts talking about his kids and what have you, and then you take into account the kind of year they had in Tampa Bay, you got a guy in Rob Gronkowski that isn't sure he wants to play anymore. Chris Godwin goes down. I know that's a part of the game, of course, but you're one of your big weapons. He goes down. Antonio Brown departs, and he's talking smack, and you know, you showing nothing but class and support for him. Yeah. And even though he ultimately came back and retracted his words, his initial response, you know, was insulting to you, and it had to hurt for you to do all the things that you did for him, and for him to turn around and turn his back and talk about you like that.
There you go. That was Stephen A. And again, ESPN's already operating that Brady is for sure retiring based off the Adam Schefter report, despite the denial from the agent, the dad, and the team.
Yes.
So there is that. Russell Wilson will be replacing Brady in the Pro Bowl. Don't you think, like, if Brady's really going to retire, Brady should play in the Pro Bowl?
That's what we had a texter text in about that. You know, if he's going to retire, doesn't he want one last Pro Bowl? If he's hurt, then it's like...
He's not hurt. Well, I mean, he's always hurt, but he's not hurt.
Like, he's not... He doesn't have an ACL tear.
He could have played last weekend if there was a last week.
Yes. And even if he was retiring and, you know, his finger hurt, his shoulder was sore, who cares? Play, because it's not like you got next year to worry about.
Right. I understand that he's been to 15 of these, and he's probably only played in, like, 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the Pro Bowl's, like, not a big deal to him.
But
like,
if you're going
it's the
out,
last one.
And I hear Stephen A. and I heard Tom Brady last week saying, "Hey, I got to be the dad that my kids need me to be, and I got to be the husband that Giselle needs me to be." And I get it. I understand that. I hear that, and I would understand if he wanted to walk away from football. But everything that's transpired over the past 48 to 72 hours is just shady to me.
You're really bothered by this.
I mean, I think it's really incredibly irresponsible.
On Schefter's part.
Yes. And I just think it's...
What if he's right?
If he's right, then why is Tom Brady Sr. denying it? Why hasn't the team come out and said, yes, he's retiring? Why hasn't Tom Brady come out and said he's retiring?
Well, maybe Tom doesn't want people to know right now.
Well, then I still think that's irresponsible for Adam Schefter to report it if Tom Brady doesn't want people to know right now.
Well, that's how reporting works. Like, if you work for the mob and...
Okay, but this isn't the mob.
I understand, but, I mean, in theory, it's the same. If you work for the mob, I'll just say this without saying it because this may be a topic of discussion tomorrow, and if you're listening now, it may. There is a doozy of a story. I think it's a doozy, right?
Well, you told me?
Yes.
I think it's a good one.
I mean, I think it's a big deal.
It's some tea, for sure.
Okay, so there's a big story surrounding a very important player in the National Football League and potentially the Tennessee Titans.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not ready to drop it yet. I probably will tomorrow. Honestly, it will probably lead off the show tomorrow if I had to take a guess.
Get your popcorn.
But I'm not ready for it yet. I'm not ready. There's still more that has to be done before I can officially feel comfortable about saying it. There are certain things that have to be met. And it sounds like Schefter's people at ESPN are saying that he met him. Now, I promised phones, and I only want to do 2 segments on this because I want to talk more about the games from yesterday. But I see a bunch of your phones into the text line. Let's start with Joe. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Joe, thank you for calling Stillman and Company. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Jared. He's retiring. On February 4th, Brady gets $15 million in his contract with Tampa. It's a pretty good reason why he'd delay the announcement.
Yeah, but none of that matters. Like, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate your call. But, like, if it comes out today that Tom Brady's going to retire, let's just use today.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out that Tom Brady, so tonight, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, Sirius XM, great channel.
Mm-hmm.
Which, speaking of stories, I'll have something a little bit more to tell you about that down the road, too. But they have the Let's Go podcast.
Right.
It debuts on Mad Dog Radio at 7 o'clock every week. And then it goes into podcast form.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight at 7 o'clock, he's going to be on there, him, Jim Gray, Tom. Him, Jim Gray, and Larry Fitzgerald are going to be on there. If Brady came out and said, I'm retiring, but then waited 4 days or whatever it is to make it official, then it'd be fine. Like, it'd be fine. And once it's fine, then it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
They'd still give him the money if he doesn't make it official until February 5th. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not going to say, well, you told Adam Schefter 6 days before it was due that we were owed $15 million, so we're not giving you the $15 million. Ha! I can guarantee you they're not doing that in Tampa Bay. What do we have in the text line?
One texter texts into the text line and says he won't retire until he wins one more. Brady wants to go out on top with the Super Bowl. A GOAT's farewell.
So Seth Wickersham, I found this very interesting. Seth Wickersham, the author of the Brady Hates Belichick story and the Brady Hates Belichick book.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Wickersham, and remember, I've told the story on the show that 2.5 years ago at the station, Floyd got an email from Seth Wickersham asking if he'd be a part of this book, and he deleted the email. And I said, what, you're not going to text him or email him back and say, no, thank you? And he laughed and was like, nope. He's like, Bill doesn't want me talking, and I don't want to be talking. And that was when I said, so anything we read from Wickersham, just know the Bill Belichick people are not talking. So that means Floyd's not talking, Ernie Adams isn't talking, Matt Patricia's not talking, none of the Bill people are talking. So Wickersham, and I'm going to guess if it's a Brady and Bill hate each other story and Bill's not talking, I've got a pretty good idea where Wickersham probably got a lot of that from.
Right.
So Wickersham wrote a column at ESPN.com that was basically like, yeah, Brady's not really concerned about walking out a loser. That doesn't bother him. Apparently there was a text that Kurt Warner sent him years ago that was, winning isn't about always winning. It's about who wins the most. So to Brady, he's already won the most.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to win the most. With Joe Burrow, who knows? But joking. Like, I think that this may not be fair to Brady. I think Brady's like Michael Jordan. I think Burrow or any of these guys, the next guy, like Burrow might be the Kobe. Like he might be Kobe, and then they'll tell us about somebody else who will be LeBron, but they'll never be better than Jordan. And in this case, and I love Joe Burrow, he'll never be better than Brady.
I don't know.
He'll never be better than Brady.
I don't know that.
Ian?
I would find it highly unlikely, but you never know.
Thank you. What else we got in the text line?
Another texter texts in and says, Adam Schefter was wrong about Derrick Henry, and he even doubled down on that. If this Brady drama is in fact false, then Schefter has got to go.
So Schefter actually wasn't wrong about Derrick Henry. Like, we crapped on Schefter about that. And, I mean, the doom and gloom that he then put all over ESPN about Derrick Henry never coming back. He said Derrick was done for the season. Derrick didn't return that, like, in the season.
In the postseason.
Well, yeah, but
when I hear season, I think he'll be back next year.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what you think of what he said. Like, he said feared lost for the season. Most guys, when it's an injury, they will say feared for the season and postseason.
I would say if it's for the rest of the regular season, you say he's out for the regular season, hopeful for the postseason.
Okay, but I'm just telling you how they do it.
I know.
Like, you may say, I don't think baseball players should chew tobacco, but guess what? They do it. That's how it's done. So, while I thought it was irresponsible reporting on Adam Schefter's end, I also am going to tell you that he technically was right. What's next?
Another texter texts into the text line and says, could this potentially be a ploy for Brady to get to go to a third team and win another Super Bowl with a third team?
Oh, God, I hope it is. Oh, my God. Do you know why I hope it is?
Because it could potentially be the Titans.
Who else is there?
Potentially Vegas.
Okay, where there's McDaniels and a Patriot guy,
Mm-hmm.
so he doesn't have to learn a new offense.
Right.
I just think that Vrabel can fire Todd Downing and go get another coach to be the offensive coordinator. Or love that. Oh, my God. Okay, so there's Vegas. And I don't think Vegas is as good as the Titans.
No, definitely not. I think the Titans have a much better defense.
I think they have a much better team.
And Derrick Henry. Who else would there be? I mean, if there was a vacancy in Green Bay, I don't see him going to Green Bay.
Indianapolis.
Pittsburgh.
Maybe.
Oh, Pittsburgh's not
But
very
what do you
good.
want to follow behind Ben Roethlisberger?
They got no offensive line in Pittsburgh.
They just have a solid coach and some weapons.
Mike Tomlin, yeah.
But see, he's not buttoned up enough for Brady. Like, I heard, and again, who knows
But
how
is
much.
Bruce Arians buttoned up?
Well, that was the thing that bothered him. So I was listening, I think it was that same Peter King interview that I heard. I went to Louisville this weekend, so I was listening to podcasts and stuff. And Peter King was talking about how the first year, everybody minded their P's and Q's and they were fine.
Right.
That at the end of the second year, it was starting to get a little out of hand with how guys were showing up and preparing and whatever, and that it was really bothering Brady, that he felt like he had to be the one who was in charge, and that there wasn't, the Lord, the overlord that was in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of bothered him, which definitely, like, he and Vrabel would see eye to eye.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I think he and Vrabel would do things well. I think, honestly, if you could do it again, the Titans would totally go all in on Brady. And I think that Vrabel, oh, my goodness gracious. So I have a thought on that. 615-737-1025. And then getting a second shot at this if you're Mike Vrabel. Because there is an opportunity And 2 more Titans got named to the Pro Bowl. That's next. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell everybody about the Preds Pick to Click. That's right, weekday home Preds games. You can participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. We'll see some sunshine this afternoon. High temperature up to 53 degrees. 60s for the day on Tuesday, and then storms moving back in midweek.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit community blood center, announces they'll be giving away 8 tickets to the Nashville Predators Stadium Series game. Stop by the new Blood Assurance Hermitage location on Lebanon Pike January 25th through February 3rd for your chance to win. 1 donation saves 3 lives, and Blood Assurance needs your help saving local lives today. Find it in your heart to donate. Go to bloodassurance.org/schedule for information.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint, financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at regions.com/greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Get big game ready and score amazing deals at Electronic Express. Bring the action to your living room with 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department: computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. The game wouldn't be complete without the food, so save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express has what you need to get big game ready. We make it happen.
Attention veterans, Little Guys Movers wants you to put your hard-earned skills and leadership talent to work with your very own Little Guys Movers franchise. This is your chance to be your own boss and build a team with standards as high as your own, all while serving your community with the same hustle that you served your country. If you're ready to step up and start a fulfilling, profitable new chapter of your life as a member of a team with 25 plus years of growth and good times, go to littleguysfranchise.com. That's littleguysfranchise.com.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Meshing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company. Hey, I want to let everybody out there know about Blood Assurance. That's right, big supporters of the radio program. Preds fans, this Thursday, join us at the grand opening of Blood Assurance in Hermitage on Lebanon Pike. You can register to win tickets to the Predators Outdoor Stadium game. Is that what it's called? I thought it was the Navy Federal Credit Union Stadium Series. But I'm just reading what it says. The Predators Outdoor Stadium game plus 1 lucky winner will receive a Preds Stadium game jersey. See you this Thursday at Blood Assurance in Hermitage. Are we going to Blood Assurance in Hermitage on Thursday?
News to me.
I guess we're there. I don't know. Anywho, just want to tell people about that. So, I got an email that now is when all the replacements are getting named for the Pro Bowl because all the guys that made the Super Bowl are not going to play in the Pro Bowl. And, of course, when your team gets upset in the playoffs, that is when you end up making the Pro Bowl. And good for the Titans because their coaching staff is headed to Vegas to go coach in the Pro Bowl.
This is the exact cherry on top of this season that everyone wanted.
Going to have fun at the Pro Bowl.
Woo!
So instead of going to scout prospects at the Senior Bowl, the Titans coaches will be coaching the Pro Bowl. But there may be an opportunity. So Jeffrey Simmons and Roger Saffold were named to the Pro Bowl. Simmons replaces Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones, who has an injury, and Saffold is replacing Quentin Nelson, who has an injury. Here's the crazy thing about the Pro Bowl, and this is like reason 13 of why people hate the Pro Bowl, which is that the players don't actually care about going to the Pro Bowl. Like, it just doesn't matter to them because it was one thing when it was, hey, at least you're going to go and get all expenses paid trip to Hawaii, to go out there and play in the Pro Bowl. Right. Now it's like, you want to go to Orlando? I'll pass.
And there's really only one bowl that matters.
So nobody really cares about the Pro Bowl because the guys don't want to play. So Quentin Nelson gets named to the Pro Bowl every year. So it's like, nah, I'll be in Bermuda. Bother me later. Whatever. Do whatever you want. So guys that don't really make the Pro Bowl get a chance. Well, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers don't want to go to the Pro Bowl. So they're out. So Kirk Cousins was the first Pro Bowl replacement at quarterback. So he replaces Rodgers. Russell Wilson, and I can't believe that, I personally can't believe that Russell Wilson's going to be in the Pro Bowl because didn't he miss half the season?
He did with a finger injury.
Okay. Russell Wilson has been added to the NFC Pro Bowl roster, and apparently Dak Prescott passed on playing to give himself rest after a long rehab from his ankle, calf, and other ailments that cropped up during the season. So Dak doesn't even want to play. So Russell Wilson, who's like, he should be like all these other guys and not want to play in the Pro Bowl.
Does it almost feel like it's beneath him? I know that sounds so incredibly terrible to say.
Let me ask you a question. What did we talk about last week? Whether or not Russell was going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
Russell has now been to 9 Pro Bowls. And we do talk about this. And it's total bullcrap that Russell Wilson's in the Pro Bowl. But nobody talks about that when you retire. And it's like, he made 13 Pro Bowls. It's like, maybe Russell's thinking about that. But here's the real opportunity. Tampa. Vrabel will be there. Russell will be there. Russell has a no-trade clause. So if you are going to make a trade with the Seahawks, he is just as important as the team. If Russell doesn't want to come here, then there's no way to get Russell. If Russell will only come here, then the price that you have to pay for Russell goes down significantly. Because, like, if Russell's like, hey, I'm not coming back. Well, hey, let us draft some players for you, Russell. With what picks? You don't have a first-round pick. You don't have a second-round pick. Well, Russell, I'm only going to Tennessee. And then all of a sudden, I've been throwing Schefter under the bus here today, but Adam Schefter reports Russell Wilson will only go to Tennessee. Then doesn't that kind of depress the market?
Yes.
Then doesn't Seattle look at it and say, okay, we have no first-round picks, and we have no quarterback.
And this is
if
really...
we trade Russell, and Russell won't show up. So let's go to Tennessee. Hey, that was the deal for Stafford last year. Let's do the same deal. Tannehill, 2-1s for Russell. But Russell has to want to do this. How do you get Russell to want to do this? Well, you got to kind of pitch him. But you can't pitch him because he's under contract with Seattle, and you can't tamper. But he's going to be staying in the hotel, and you're going to be staying in the hotel. And, again, if you read Peter King's Monday morning quarterback column, apparently Matthew Stafford just happened to be in the same hotel or the same resort in Cabo San Lucas as Sean McVay.
Lucas.
Cabo San Lucas. You see how cultured I am. I go in less expensive places. And so, which, by the way, isn't the resort that those kind of guys go to, like that kind of money, like, aren't they incredibly private? So even if Matthew Stafford was there at the same time as Sean McVay, isn't there a really good chance that they wouldn't even know that the other one was there?
Unless they wanted each other to know that they were there.
Oh, wait a minute. Really?
Interesting.
Oh, so, and I got to pull this up because, like, Peter King, I'm reading this and I'm like, wait a minute. This is so ridiculous. Here you go. Peter King wrote, in his Monday morning quarterback column. Another oddity. Matthew Stafford never won a playoff game, yada, yada, yada. There was so much on the line with the Rams. Was it the truth that it was coincidental, the meeting in Mexico? ? Totally unplanned? 100% Stafford reiterated Sunday night. All innocent, he meant. So,
okay, Matthew.
They ran into each other in Cabo, and Stafford quietly had gone to the Lions begging for his freedom after 12 years of bad teams there, and the Lions quietly acceded to his request. It wasn't like that was a secret, because we talked about whether or not the Colts were going to get Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was a big fear. So I'm just saying, Russell's going to the Pro Bowl. Vrabel's going to be at the Pro Bowl. Simmons is going to be at the Pro Bowl. Saffold's going to be at the Pro Bowl, but we don't, really need him to go doing any tampering because he's going to get cut anyways. Byard's going to be at the Pro Bowl. Guys, get them tampering shoes on. Just like when Randy Moss told the story in the Man in the Arena docuseries that while he was wide receiver with the Raiders, he flew from Oakland to Minnesota before a Monday night game in Minnesota against New England, snuck into the Patriots hotel, dressed in a disguise, went up to Tom Brady and told Tom Brady, I want to play with you. Vrabel, Byard, Simmons need to tamper the hell out of it this week with Russell Wilson and tell Russell, you want to be here. And put the plan in place and then deal the 2 first-round picks and Tannehill to the Seahawks for Russell. Take on the $47 million cap hit this year, or wait till June 1st and take on the $28.6 million dead cap hit or cap charge, which would be even better than the $38 million cap charge you have on Tannehill. Get rid of Tannehill, have Russell Wilson, and go for it.
Do you think that they will? Because
I don't know.
I view it as, we've said so many times that there are so many Titans players that are just vehemently backing Ryan Tannehill. And I know that Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard didn't say anything like, for example, Taylor Lewan on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. But if that comes out, that Mike Vrabel, Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard were talking with Russell Wilson and trying to convince him to want to come to Tennessee, that's huge.
Like the tampering?
Yes. And also in terms of just if you're Ryan Tannehill.
What is the pick docking for tampering? I think that the Washington got charged with tampering for Albert Haynesworth, and I think they got docked a 6th. So if that's and I just say that I don't know. If the punishment for tampering is like a 5th round pick. Now again, the Bengals got their kicker in the 5th round, so let's not poo-poo the 5th round. But if the pick tampering charge is not that bad,
worth it,
then I say do it.
But also, are you worried about Ryan Tannehill hearing about that?
Nope. I do not care what Ryan Tannehill thinks anymore. Remember we asked not Michael Lombardi,
Tannenbaum.
We asked Tannenbaum about, what do you do with the quarterback, and he was like, well, we called Chad Pennington and told him we were going to go after Brett Favre, and he didn't like it, but, them's the breaks.
That's the reality of it.
That's how I feel about this. Tamper. I want a tamper tantrum.
Good
from
one.
The Titans. From the Titans. I just want to tamper all week at the Pro Bowl now that Russell Wilson is going there. And to your point, the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. Rodgers doesn't want in.
Nope.
Brady doesn't want in. I don't know who's out in the AFC.
Dak doesn't want in.
Dak doesn't want in. Is Mahomes still going?
I don't know.
I mean, nobody really cares about the Pro Bowl. So it's not like we need to know these things. But if Dak thinks the Pro Bowl's beneath him and Russell doesn't, what if Russell wants to go to the Pro Bowl in order to run into Vrabel to tell Vrabel, I want to be your quarterback? I watched that game. I saw the 9 sacks. I see the massive running back. I see the stud wide receiver. I want in.
Is it that, or is it Russell Wilson being the kind of quarterback that's like, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to just go out there and compete?
I don't know. He played in it a couple years ago with Drew Brees, so I can't hold it against him. 615-737-1025. Add that to the kitty because we will get back into your texts and your phones. 615-737-1025. If you're listening, Mike, Tamper. And coming up next, we were supposed to go over the Peter King column, so I will read you what Peter King wrote about that Cabo San Lucas thing. And did Stafford prove that the Titans need to do this? So add that. That's next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice of the fan.
Our entire team's a MASH unit right now.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details. If you're on the job day in and day out, you know living with pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulders is miserable. The good news, QC Kinetics gets it. They understand guys like you.
They don't have the luxury of taking time off. They want to keep working. We are built for those guys that want to keep working and want to stay active. So the vast majority of who we see are the blue-collar guys like me and you.
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies, just like pro athletes have used for years, to get you lasting pain relief with no surgery.
I want you to continue working. I want you to continue exercising. The joints are made to be moved.
The treatments at QC Kinetics are fast and non-invasive.
It's not a lot of time commitment on your part. There is no downtime or recovery time. You don't need short-term disability with what we do. We want to keep you active.
Call QC Kinetics now to set up your free no-obligation consultation. Learn how you can get real pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people. It takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. Have you ever cooked a really fine gourmet meal? Yeah, me neither. But I'm told it all comes down to the ingredients. And when I need ingredients to improve my car, the place I go is eBay Motors. Whether you roasted your last transmission, graded your current floor mats, or pureed your side view mirror on a lamppost, eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And by the way, if you recently fired up your grill, don't worry, eBay Motors has grills too. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark, drink Focus.com. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. I have this nervous twitch, I'm just very bouncy. Does that come through on the stream, the camera that I'm just kind of bouncing around right now?
No.
Okay.
You're pretty calm, cool, and collected on the stream.
Because, I look at these other things, and I'm like, man, I don't ever see anybody else on TV that's just, or streams or whatever, that's just bouncing around.
Nah, they probably are. You just can't see it.
Just bouncing around here. So, I started off the first, we talked about both games, the AFC NFC Championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, as a football fan, these have been some pretty good games. They're exciting. They're down to the wire. They're overtime. They're field goals. There's everything. As a Titans fan, it has been excruciating. It was excruciating watching the Titans blow to the Bengals. It was excruciating watching the two quarterbacks in the Bills-Chiefs game. It was excruciating watching Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, two guys that if the Titans had gotten to the Super Bowl, you knew they probably weren't going to beat. It was excruciating watching the Bengals win the AFC. And honestly, it was excruciating watching the team that went out and traded for the quarterback this offseason get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a silver lining in what is clearly a copycat league? Everybody's trying to hire Bill Belichick's coordinators. And the reason that they're not trying to hire Andy Reid's is because Doug Peterson just got fired and Matt Nagy just got fired. And so when everybody's like, why does Eric Bieniemy not get a shot? It's because most people think Andy runs the offense in Kansas City, and they don't want to go hire another Matt Nagy. Now, look, Belichick's assistants don't do much better, and they still get hired. But I'm just saying, it's a very copycat league. So do we think that as painful as that I do wonder that I tweeted about this yesterday. What do you think John Robinson thought watching the AFC Championship game and watching Cincinnati win? And then what do you think he thought watching the Rams, who have never valued draft picks ever, get to the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford at quarterback, pulling off an all-time stunning trade this time last year when they decided to move off of their franchise quarterback, whom they gave the largest guaranteed contract money to in the history of the NFL. Because I know that I watched the first game, and I thought, okay, well, that should be the Titans. The Titans should be passing out AFC Championship hats and T-shirts, and that it's because of one guy that they're not passing out AFC Championship hats and T-shirts. I don't want to hear that Kari Blasingame dropped a pass in the first quarter. It's because of one guy. We all know that. I said I can't do 4 hours of Bash and Tannehill today, and I'm not going to. But we know why. Then you see the other team that had the stones to make the move, and they are going to the Super Bowl. Do you think that that's enough to get the Titans to say, maybe we need to play this like the Rams a little bit?
See, and that's the difficult thing because it doesn't guarantee anything.
No, it does not.
But it is a wonderful look that this could be a blueprint to put ourselves in a really good position to compete for a Super Bowl.
Isn't it easier to talk yourself into it?
It is a lot easier because it would be really difficult to advocate for the Titans to do something like that, a really bold move to go get an elite quarterback if the Rams just crashed and burned this year, if Matthew Stafford was just god-awful this year, because you could look at that and say, well, it didn't work out for the Rams. And even though that wouldn't be a guarantee that that would happen for the Titans, it's a bad look. But to know that the Rams were willing to risk so much money and draft capital to move on from their quarterback, not knowing that Matthew Stafford would get them to a Super Bowl, but just knowing that it would be something different. And they did.
I mean, they were a Jaquiski Tart interception away from it not working.
But it did.
I hear
And
you.
sometimes stars align.
I hear it. No, I agree. I would have made the move even if they had lost.
I would too, because I still believe that Ryan Tannehill can't get you to a Super Bowl. And Matthew Stafford's success in Los Angeles is completely independent of that.
Here's what Peter King wrote in the Monday Morning Quarterback. Quote, "There was so much on the line for the Rams here, and it started 1 year ago last night when a Rams delegation, GM Les Snead, COO Kevin Demoff, and VP of Football Administration Tony Pastors got on a Zoom call with a Lions delegation to work out details of a Goff for Stafford trade. Stafford quietly had gone to the Lions begging for his freedom." And I think that that's Peter King,
begging for his freedom sounds dramatic.
Well, it's not so much that, as much as I feel like it's revisionist history to say that it was quiet. We knew that he had asked for a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ian, you remember this. We talked about, are the Colts going to go after Stafford?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like it was a secret that Stafford wanted out. It was like at the end of the year after it was over, Stafford went to the Lions and said, hey, I'd like to move on. And they said, okay, yeah, we want you to move on too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they owed it to him. And honestly, I think they want to move on too. Like, I think they wanted to go eventually draft a new quarterback and have him lead the way. So again, they get on a Zoom call to work out the details of a Goff for Stafford trade. Stafford had quietly gone to the Lions begging for his freedom after 12 years of bad teams there, and the Lions quietly acceded to his request. And now it was a matter of finding a deal that worked out for both teams. McVay and Stafford and partners saw each other at a Mexican resort, and the men started talking football, and the next thing they knew, they wanted to be football wed. First of all, isn't that completely tampering?
I don't know where the line between tampering and a coincidence is, but it sounds like tampering.
Ian, does that not sound like tampering?
I mean, I guess tampering is just not all that rare.
I mean, I don't think it's rare either, but I think if Peter King's reporting it, like, it becomes an issue. Remember the guy that prayed?
Houston? Easterby?
Yeah, the Houston chaplain.
Yes,
Yeah. They prayed together, he and Cal McNair.
Uh-huh.
And when he went back to New England to accept his ring, he talked to Caserio about being the general manager in Houston. And the Patriots filed tampering charges, and Caserio couldn't go to Houston for 2 years. And then as soon as Caserio's contract was up, he went right to Houston. So, like, this is tampering. But I guess nobody cares. Was it the truth that it was totally a coincidental meeting in Mexico, totally unplanned, 100% Stafford reiterated? Okay, so we've already agreed with that.
I don't know.
So Vrabel and Russell are going to be at the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think I already wanted to move on from Tannehill before Evan McPherson kicked the Bengals into the Super Bowl. Even if the Chiefs had won 45-17, I would have wanted to move on from Tannehill. But does the fact that you really, truly, if you're a Titan fan, feel like you should be in the Super Bowl and that Tannehill's the only reason why you're not, and if you see the Rams in there after what they were willing to do, and knowing that if you wait until after the draft, that it's really not that bad money-wise on the Tannehill for Russell swap, doesn't that make you want to be there more? Doesn't that give you more reason, the fact that it worked for them, that it almost gives you the CYA element of, you know what? It worked for them, so why not work for us? Ha ha!
I mean, I think it's a definite possibility because, you said it and I agree that no matter what would have happened, if the Bengals would have blown out the Chiefs would have blown out the Bengals, whatever may happen, it doesn't change the fact that Ryan Tannehill can't get this team to a Super Bowl, can't win this team a Super Bowl. But if you need some convincing, the blueprint is there for what the Titans could potentially do.
See, I believe that fortune favors the bold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a situation like this. Jimmy Johnson pulled off the Herschel Walker trade, and everybody thought he was a dummy. And that was maybe the best trade the last 35 years in the NFL. I'm like, it's already worked. And you have the opportunity to tamper.
I have a question for you.
And one more thing.
Uh-huh.
I think Tannehill right now is a more respected quarterback around the league than Jared Goff was last year. I think Seattle, if Russell were to say, we're not going back, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Sierra and I are not coming back. And they're like, okay, we can't draft a quarterback because we have no picks. So we have to trade Russell to get picks. And then we have to get the right. I think Tannehill's a better quarterback in their mind going into week 1 of next year than anybody that they could go get right now. Like
probably
Ryan
so.
Fitzpatrick or Teddy Bridgewater or
Andy Dalton.
Any of those guys.
Yeah, probably so.
And you get 2 first-round picks with it?
Pretty good deal.
What do we think? Phones, 615-737-1025. Did Matthew Stafford's success and the Bengals' success, knowing that, the Titans should be in the Super Bowl, does that make going for it like the Rams did more of a possibility? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your thoughts on that. Also, I do want to know, Joe's got his off-season to-do list at The Athletic. Not a bad thing. It's hard for me to get there. I'll explain why next. 615-737-1025 here on the program. TriStar Moving. My official movers, I moved with TriStar in 2020, and it was fantastic. Now, again, I am not looking to move anytime soon because I like where I live, but if I did, my first call would be to TriStar Moving. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, they have made this company about their hometown, Nashville, and that's why it's TriStar Moving, but 5-star service. And that is their motto. They took care of everything when I moved, and they are always upping the game when it comes to mover training. Everything was taken care of, all due to the high standard they hold. And if you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers. Every Wednesday, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexroad for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takauchi dealer.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
One of the smartest things you can do for the new year is convert some of your home's equity into cash. You can do it right now with a zero-cost cash-out refi from Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now. They can fast-track your home refi and get you a check for 50, 60, 70 grand or more. And if you call now, Loan Pronto can even pay your closing costs. Listen, your home value is way up. Use it to your advantage. Get cash out now. Pay off those credit card debts. Consolidate other debts. Start that home improvement project and get your finances in great shape for 2022. Loan Pronto's refis usually close in just 2 weeks, and the process is easy. It's all digital. Call Loan Pronto now. Put that equity in your home to work towards financial freedom for the new year. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, your home for all the broadcasts with football and men's basketball games is 93.3 Classic Hits. Tune in each week as Andrew Allegretta and Kevin Ingram brings the fans the exciting SEC action on 93.3 Classic Hits.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Stafford, end zone cup. He's got it. Touchdown Rams.
So I think there's a belief that you have to have this great quarterback in order to win in the NFL. Like the elite of the elite, right? Brady, Rodgers, how many guys right now are out there that you would say are like elite quarterbacks in the NFL? Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes. Allen. Jackson.
Would you call him elite? I don't know if I'm elite with Lamar.
I mean, 2 years ago he was the league MVP.
Yeah.
I feel like he carries that entire team.
Yeah, you could definitely make the argument.
I mean, Ian, do you think that Lamar is an elite quarterback?
That is a tough one. If he's not tier 1, he's tier 2.
Okay.
That's fair.
So, Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, Joe Burrow.
I would probably put him in the same tier with Lamar Jackson.
Okay, well, I think Joe Burrow's elite. So, let's put Joe and Lamar both. I mean, Lamar's a league MVP.
Russell.
Like, if Russell's not going downhill, Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a lot of those guys out there.
No.
Right? And I say this because you don't have to have that guy. You just can't have the other guy in the game, Garoppolo. Like, you can't have Garoppolo, you can't have Cousins, you can't have Tannehill, you can't have Wentz, you can't have any of those guys. But if you have somebody like in between those two guys, I think you got a shot.
In
like
between
Herbert.
being Herbert, Stafford,
Herbert. You know, like that's where I feel like that's the NFL.
Really good, solid quarterbacks. Not elite.
Yes, but
solid.
not Jameis Winston.
Right. They don't throw 4 interceptions a game.
Right. So that is, and I think Stafford's the poster child for that. I think it was Dan Orlovsky who's obsessed with Stafford because they were teammates together in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Orlovsky came out and said that if Stafford wins the Super Bowl, he's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure I really believe that.
I'm not there yet. I think I heard D-May saying that today as well. I don't know if I'm there.
I'm not sure I really believe that. Maybe. I mean, this the pure stats
his
were
numbers
so gaudy from when he had Calvin Johnson, and they never won anything. Like, I have a hard time getting on board with the idea. Then again, Warren Moon's in the Hall of Fame and Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame, so maybe whatever. But that's what you have to have. You just have to have better than what you have now. That's it. That's it. It's not you have to have great. You don't have to have great. You don't have to have Hall of Fame. You don't have to have Brady. But like Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And Dak drives me crazy. I think he's got bad coaching. But, I mean, like, I think you win with that. And so I think if there is a Stafford or better level guy out there, which I think is Russell Wilson, then I think you have to make that move. That's just me. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter checks in and says, quit saying the Titans should be in the Super Bowl. They lost, so they're probably excluded from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the Titans should be in the Super Bowl. The Titans lost in 2000, and they should have won that Super Bowl. I mean, I think that there's a difference between, like, the year that the Titans went to New England with Mariota and lost 35-14, and that team had no business playing on that field with the Patriots. That team was never going to compete for the championship. That team was never that good. This team went into a playoff game against the eventual AFC champions at home, had 9 sacks, and lost because the quarterback threw 3 horrendous interceptions. They're not there because of one guy. That's like Scott Norwood, who missed the field goal against the Giants in the Super Bowl when he was at Buffalo. I think it was the 91 Super Bowl. And, you know, the wide right. And it's like, if he makes the kick, the Bills are champions. If he misses the kick, the Bills lose. Well, no disrespect to Scott Norwood, but he's why they lost. Tannehill is why they lost. And I could be wrong. I said it to open the show. I think the Titans would have smoked Kansas City at Nissan Stadium yesterday. Smoked them. I don't think this Kansas City team is nearly as good as the ones in the past. I don't think that the Titans were take where the Titans and the Chiefs were 2 years ago in the AFC title game. And if you're looking at the stream, I'm moving my hands like in kind of like, you know, bar graph notion. Let's say the Chiefs are up here.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans were kind of, you know, here. And then all of a sudden, okay, now let's move home field advantage out of it so it kind of moves them
Starts
closer
to level.
together. And then let's say, well, wait a minute, you know, Sammy Watkins, who killed the Titans in that game, is not there. The Titans' defense is much better, especially the pass rush. So all of a sudden, it starts to just completely shift it. I think the Titans would have smoked. I think the Titans would have smoked Kansas City yesterday. And that's just my opinion.
Smoked, I think, is a little much. I don't think they would have smoked them.
I think they would have smoked them. I think they would have come in here. And I thought this before the last drive of the Cincinnati game. So the Titans get the ball back and force a punt with like 2:45 and 3 timeouts to go. And I'm like, if Tannehill can just pull this out of his ass, just one drive, that's all I need. You know, one drive where, you know, sometimes you get lucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one drive where they call the screen at the right time and Dontrell Hilliard takes it down to the Bengal 36. And now it's like, okay, put the big boys in there and feed it to Henry or feed it to Foreman and run the football and make Cincy use their timeouts and kick your field goal and put your 9-sack defense back on the field. If I can get one drive, you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
You come out of the game, 2 terrible interceptions by Tannehill, you win 19-16, everybody would have been dogging Tannehill. They'd have been like, now that defense got 9 sacks, but Tannehill looked terrible. I mean, he can't throw the ball. He throws the ball right to the other guy. Would have been a whole week of just dumping on Tannehill, right?
Yes.
Everybody picking Kansas City to win by 15 after what they saw the week before. Kansas City would have been cocky. They would have been arrogant. They would have been not this complete team that they are. Oh, my God, the Titans was. But, again, that's just me.
I would just have a hard time going from, let's say that if the Titans did beat the Bengals in spite of Ryan Tannehill's 3 interceptions, who's to say Ryan Tannehill's not going to turn around and have a similar performance against the Chiefs? Who's just say that he wouldn't?
He threw a terrible interception in the first Chiefs game. They still blew him out.
But 3?
He threw a ball right over the middle of the linebacker.
3?
He's not going to throw 3.
Well, he did against the Bengals.
Right. But the Chiefs, I'm saying, I think they would have smoked them. And the Titans, when they're playing teams they think are elite, they play better.
That is true.
Like,
I mean, they
I
showed
think
out
pressure,
against the Rams, the Chiefs.
I think, and this is a
Bills.
Vrabel thing, the pressure of being the favorite cripples the Titans. And maybe it's Vrabel, maybe it's Tannehill. You know, when Tannehill has nothing to lose, Tannehill goes out there and plays great. When Tannehill has something to lose, you know, he goes from Michael Jordan to Montel Jordan. I don't know. Let's go to Lance, who's up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling on Stafford's almost near interception at the end of the game yesterday. Go ahead, Lance.
That's what I was going to bring up, that we wouldn't be having this discussion about how great Matthew Stafford is. He's kind of like Brett Favre in a way. He throws that one crazy errant pass, and if that guy would have caught, I can't remember the defender, but if he would have just caught that ball, end of game, and the 49ers are Super Bowl bound.
Okay, so I appreciate your call. I think that's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford laid the ball into the hands of Jaquiski Tart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he dropped it. Let's take aside the fact that he, in fact, did not catch that and that they are going to the Super Bowl, because people will say, well, you know, if it wasn't for that Final Four run, then that basketball well, he did go to the Final Four. But let's take that aside. I would still be in favor of making the move. I would still point to Stafford as, like, evidence that you can do this. And maybe I'm crazy for thinking that.
Oh, I would still, because I made up my mind a long time ago. Not a long time ago. The day that the Titans hosted the Bengals about
8 days ago.
Yes, about a week ago, that Ryan Tannehill couldn't win a Super Bowl with the Titans. So once you make up your mind, you're ready to make a move. And you're ready to make a bold move. And we laid out different ways that the Titans could replace Ryan Tannehill either immediately or in the future. But I think that Matthew Stafford winning that game and getting this team to a Super Bowl is just a way to be like, look, see? It worked for, it's convincing people who aren't ready to make that change, who aren't willing to deal the first round picks, the ones who say it's not worth it, it might not work here. I point to Matthew Stafford and say it did. Even if he didn't take him to the Super Bowl, even if it ended in the NFC Championship, I would still say it worked.
Did you think Jimmy sucked yesterday?
I don't think he was absolutely atrocious. I don't think he was a dumpster fire. But it wasn't anything that I'm going to write home about.
So I watched like 5 Jimmy games, right, this year. So I watched regular season Titans, regular season Bengals, postseason Cowboys, postseason Packers, postseason Rams. I've seen 5 full Jimmy Garoppolo games. I think they can give you a feel on whether or not a guy's any good. When you watch him 5 times, I think Jimmy's terrible. Like, I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Jimmy. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield than Jimmy. Now, I didn't watch 5 Baker games this year. But, I really think Garoppolo's awful. And I think that there would have been so many people screaming from the mountaintop if San Francisco had carried Jimmy to the finish line yesterday. That would have been like, see, Jimmy can do it. And if Jimmy can do it, anybody can do it. But remember, when Vrabel talked about being great around Tannehill? And I felt like the 49ers are truly a great team around Jimmy Garoppolo. I think I got 3 just tough as nails receivers that all have speed, except for Jennings, who is just a great, possession receiver.
Dog, yeah.
Kittle. They've got the best left tackle in the NFL. I think their defense is just suffocating. The middle linebacker, Fred Warner, I tweeted this out yesterday, he's like Jeffrey Simmons in middle linebacker form. They're awesome. And Jimmy couldn't get more than 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. Plus, D. Mace had something very interesting that he said today that I do want to touch on a little bit, so we'll get into that as well. 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. And I've also got a Sean McVay thing that I got to get off my chest. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller has extended their lower 2021 pricing through all of January to help customers tackle necessary replacements. And there was so much demand that they are now extending this special pricing for one more month. This will be the lowest pricing expected all year. You've noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves everywhere, and now there are serious shortages on equipment and products for your home. HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited in 2022 because of supply issues and rising costs of parts. Manufacturers are rapidly increasing the price of this equipment. If you need a replacement, call my friends at Hiller today. Don't wait until you are out of options. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free guarantee, and you can learn more at happyhiller.com. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They take great care of my home. I promise they can do the same for you. Proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, Tennessee Volunteers, and Vanderbilt Commodores. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Tuesday night.
Forsberg to Duchesne, he scored! A little give and go.
The Predators return home to Bridgestone Arena for a matchup against the Canucks. Pre-game at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Now through February 2nd, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, mother of very fussy triplets and one very colicky husband.
Especially you, Supermom. You'll release endorphins and have more energy.
I remember having energy.
Start feeling fit-tacular today. Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 2nd. See club for details.
They've rocked over 35 million fans around the world.
It's my
Bon Jovi, the 2022 tour. Bridgestone Arena, Saturday, April 30th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Bon Jovi, all their anthems for one incredible night. Presented by Hampton Water. For more, check bonjovi.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless. Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Tuesday night.
Reverse layup is there for Tyron Lawrence.
The Vanderbilt Commodores head to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Coverage begins at 5:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We are in a local media scolding season where they come out and say, No. Don't wish for better. Don't expect better from this team that could have won a Super Bowl. You guys, you take your vegetables and you eat it. And you eat all those vegetables. Because there is no way you're going to get what you want. Because there is no way that Ryan Tannehill's not going to be the quarterback of this team. I hate that more than anything when media gets on this lecture circuit. with fans who help pay their salaries and tell them what they can't do. What's wrong with someone saying the Titans and John Robinson should be doing everything possible to upgrade every position? And the top position you must upgrade is quarterback. So they should be trying everything to make sure they are in the best possible position at quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that.
There you go. That was Chad Withrow, Outkick 360 on our show Friday. And again, it's so funny. I don't hear anybody who covers this team even think it's a possibility that the Titans will move on from Tannehill.
I don't think no one is saying that.
No. Like the daily scribes that are there on a daily basis.
That's what it seems like.
Joe
thinks it's not an option.
I can't really determine TD's spot on this. I kind of feel like TD thinks they may be handcuffed, but I do think TD thinks they need to do it.
Well, TD saying that the Titans have reached their ceiling with Ryan Tannehill tells me all I need to know.
Okay. Kaharski says they can't do it.
Right.
Teresa Walker says they can't do it.
What does Gentry say?
Oh, I'm sure he thinks they can't do it.
I don't know.
I busted his ass yesterday. He wrote the worst column, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, about Philip Forsberg. It was such, and when I say worst, I don't mean worst journalistically. I mean the opinion was just so bad. I was at the breakfast buffet in Louisville yesterday at the hotel. I'm sitting there eating my omelet, and I'm reading Gentry Estes' column on Philip Forsberg, and I literally went right to I'm like, Gentry, this might be the worst column I've ever.
So, no, did it ruin your omelet?
No, omelet was fantastic.
Oh, good.
So,
I'm glad.
The guy in front of me at the omelet station got an egg white omelet with all the veggies except for jalapenos and cheddar cheese, and I was like, I should probably do the same thing here.
But you didn't, did you?
I did regular eggs instead of the egg whites.
Egg whites are gross anyways.
But I did all the vegetables except for. So it was spinach and mushroom and peppers, and it was so good. So good.
I'm glad that Gentry Estes didn't ruin your breakfast.
No, he did not. But, I think Gentry is they can't move Tannehill. And because of that, I get all the tweets and all the texts that are can't do it. Look at the cap, Jared. I'm like, first of all, I've been explaining the cap to you. I understand the cap more than the average fan. I understand that if you trade post June 1st, that it is significantly different than if you release before June 1st. Significantly. And I've tried to explain it. I think sometimes people just don't want to listen. But I do think Chad's right about the local media, which is I feel like a lot of people that cover the team are eat your vegetables. Ryan Tannehill has to be your quarterback.
That's what we're stuck with. And I feel like a lot of fans, I get it, we're stuck with Ryan Tannehill, so don't even entertain the idea. Don't even think about anything else. Even if they don't even really believe that Ryan Tannehill can get this team to a Super Bowl, they're like, you got to deal with it. Which I think is a very strange perception.
Now I want to launch into Gentry's column on Philip Forsberg right now. It's the Monday after the AFC and NFC Championship game. So tomorrow, when we are at Bridgestone Arena, we will be getting worked up about Gentry's column.
Oh,
Just
good.
know that.
Good. I'll do my homework.
TD, for the record, Teron Davenport has texted me. I've said multiple times that they can get out of the Tannehill business, but it will be difficult. Okay. I think
that's the truth. It would be difficult. We never said it wouldn't hurt.
What the Rams did to get where they are today is difficult. General managers do not even their general manager, and he really doesn't like picks. But general managers do not like giving up. The Rams next year do not have a first-round pick, second-round pick, or third-round pick. I do not believe.
That is so crazy.
Because they traded their second and third for Von Miller. But unlike the Titans, who were too stupid to get Atlanta to eat all the Julio Jones money, the Broncos ate all the Von Miller money.
And took the picks.
Here's Von Miller, second and third-round pick. And that's where that is.
It does stress me out not having any picks, though. The way the Rams approach trades stresses me out.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't love it.
No.
But I also think where you are right now with your team, you've put yourself in a position where you have to do something that will be painful.
I also don't love Ryan Tannehill more.
Right, in order to get out of the Tannehill business.
Yes.
This would be a lot easier if with the fifth pick in 2017, you knew Mariota wasn't going to pan out, so you didn't draft him, and instead you drafted Patrick Mahomes, and now you don't have to worry about any of it.
But that doesn't work that way.
But you didn't. So this is where you are. Let's go to your phone. Oh, I do want to play this from D. Mace. So Derek Mason on the midday show today. So Willie It was funny because I was listening to Willie and Darren. Willie is still not convinced that you can't win with Tannehill. Let's just kick this around the room first. Do you think they can win with Tannehill?
No.
Ian?
Unlikely.
Okay, so 3 of 3 say no here. Darren and D-Mace say no. Willie thinks you still can win with Tannehill because Vrabel said that, hey, they just have to be great around him.
If Vrabel said that he's tough?
Well, but again, with a $38 million cap hit, I don't know how you can be great around somebody. This is what Derek said on the Midday Show today.
We just said they can't win a Super Bowl with Ryan.
I'm not saying that. You guys are saying that, if that's what you're saying. I don't know if A.J. Brown is saying
Well, the head coach said it.
He didn't say that. He said you've got to have a great team around Ryan Tannehill to win.
Okay, Willie, which means if everything's not perfect, Ryan's not going to win a Super Bowl. He's just not going to do it. So everybody needs to be great. And what did I say last week? That's just not going to happen. In other words, he's saying Ryan's really not our guy, but we stuck with him.
You think that?
I don't think the Titans are stuck with him.
But do you think that the Titans know that? Because that's what matters. I mean, that's what
How
matters.
do you not? And I know that's easy for me to say, sitting in this position and not in a position of power, but
people
how
who
do you
cover
not?
the team won't say that. Mike Tannenbaum. Mike Tannenbaum. Oh yeah, guys. I just think it's a good player. Had a bad day.
But how many bad days do you get?
With Tannenbaum?
A lot.
Infinite. That's why Tannenbaum is working on ESPN, calling into our radio show.
I have higher standards.
Clearly. Clearly.
Asking for you to not turn the ball over 3 times in a playoff game, I feel like is a pretty fair expectation, is a pretty fair standard.
Let's go to James, who's up next here on Stillman & Company, 615-737-1025. Thank you for waiting, James. You go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I love listening to y'all.
Thank you.
I hadn't been able to listen over the past week plus because I've got one of the worst sports hangovers ever. I was actually in the building, up in 3:30, letting Tannehill have it. I don't believe that we can win a Super Bowl with him. Play calling aside, guy cannot look straight at a receiver and throw it, dead at the dude, not look anybody off, all the things we said. Jared, I never agree with anything you say, at all ever, but I actually love this Russell Wilson trade.
Sure.
Think about this, and let's take it another step further. What does that do for the window, right? Gives us a good 2 to 3 year window, I feel like, to actually fulfill this thing. And yeah, we should be trying to upgrade our team. We got one of the best defenses in the league. We can't waste that. And that was beyond being totally hurt and irritated listening to that Houday chant walking out of the stadium. That was the first thing
James,
I thought.
I hear you. James, I appreciate your
wasted
call. I do not. This is going to sound crazy. I think when you're a team like the Rams or the Titans or Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Dallas, Kansas City, do you really even think about windows? Do you really think about your window, or do you just think about that season? Right? So the Rams have gone all in for this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason they've done it is because they're hosting the Super Bowl. I think that's what Stan Kroenke wants, the owner, is to be playing in their building for the Super Bowl, do whatever it takes.
He's also the worst.
He is the worst. But you're from St. Louis, so that's
yeah. But he's still the worst.
I'm kind of the belief that next year, go all in. All in. Not because I remember when the Predators traded a first-round pick for Ryan Hartman, and people were like, they're going all in. And I'm like, that's not all in. That's just stupid. That's just adding a fringe player for a first-round pick. And again, that's stupid. They're now Von Miller for a second and third-round pick. Now you've already dealt your first.
Mm-hmm.
That's all in.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of there with the Titans, which is what you have right now is not good enough to win the Super Bowl. It's not good enough to get you there. You are going to have to, you have to go through a conference that has Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert.
Maybe Aaron
Rodgers. Like, it ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones next. And I do have a thought from the NFC title game that I want to get to, so we will do that coming up next as well. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear and cold overnight as we drop down to about the freezing mark. Tuesday is your day to be out and about. Highs will reach the low 60s with lots of sunshine. Heavy rain arrives by Wednesday. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. They help millions of people like you take back their privacy online. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at Rotary.org/action.
Men, let's have an honest talk about sex, because for just about all of us, sex is a pretty big deal. Here's the problem. If you're a man over 40, it's likely you're living with erectile dysfunction. But men don't talk about ED because it's embarrassing, it's taboo, and so many of us just suffer in silence year after year. And all the while, ED affects your relationships, your attitude, even your outlook on life. If ED is affecting you, call the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They offer treatments that are effective in nearly 90% of cases, even if pills and herbals have failed, and often regardless of medical condition. For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Get treated. If you're like most men, you could get your sex life back. Call the Tennessee Men's Clinic at 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Contact your doctor if an erection lasts more than 4 hours. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Hey, it's Elijah Campbell from Darren, Donick, and Chase, and I got my radio start right here as an intern at ESPN 1025 The Game. It was an excellent experience, and we're now looking for new interns. If you think that's you, go ahead and send your resume over to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply.
Sometimes their glass is half full.
That was unbelievable. It was the best NFL draft they've ever had.
Sometimes glass half empty.
What are we getting ourselves into here? Tough game.
And sometimes it's all about the numbers.
One win, and they've gone on this streak, and now they're at 500.
Hang out with Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2 during your workday. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Okay, first of all, so much respect for the 49ers. It's a great team. Coach Shannon does an excellent job. They're tough. They're physical. They fight till the end. It took everything we had, but I'm just so proud of our group, so proud of our players, our coaches, just proud to be associated with these guys. There's so many special men in that locker room, and love this team. We got one more, but today was a great sign of the resilience.
There you go, the boy wonder, Sean McVay, back in his second Super Bowl. I have so many mixed feelings about Sean McVay.
Why?
Well, he got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, which is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And
also Todd Gurley.
Clearly, he's a great play caller. You know what I mean? Those throws he had to that little tight end that looked like a wide receiver yesterday, 86, who looked like he was like 30 pounds too small to be a tight end, but all their tight ends were out. And so they kept throwing those screens to the tight ends, and that guy kept gaining 25 yards every time they did it. Brilliant. And I can't really judge like a play caller, which is why I don't jump in with all you guys on Todd Downing. Now, look, am I a huge Downing guy? Probably not. But I'm not like, I don't think that he should be run out of town like everybody else does. Maybe he should. I don't know. I have no idea.
Did you not want to say last week that he should be fired?
No. I said last week that I thought they were going to use him as the scapegoat for why Tannehill regressed.
Do you think he should be fired?
I don't know. How am I supposed to know? How do you know? Like, people that just sit there like, play caller's terrible. I mean, like, you don't even know how plays are called.
Continue.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so when people tell me that somebody's a great play caller, I mean, like Mike Martz was supposedly a great play caller, was he? But then all of a sudden, the greatest show on turf, Marshall Faulk, those guys got older, guys left, and then they weren't very good anymore. I guess he wasn't that good, was he? Mike Martz went and called plays other places. They weren't very good. So, I mean, Byron Leftwich, everybody loves Byron Leftwich. What did Byron Leftwich do with Jameis Winston at quarterback? Oh, yeah, nothing. Okay, all right. Well, let's see how McDaniels does with the Raiders. Let's see if that's any better than his unmitigated disaster in Denver. But now you got me on a whole different thing. But this is exactly my point. Like, I think McVay's probably a good offensive play caller. He got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, programmed him like a robot, realized he wasn't any good, moved off of him, brings in guys like Odell Beckham, makes it work, whatever. But did anybody watch his actual coaching of the game yesterday? I mean, his usage of the challenge flag yesterday and his timeouts were just epic, gross mismanagement.
The timeout management is questionable.
I mean, like, when you're a head coach, because this is what football's turned into, and I'm glad Vrabel's not one of these guys. But football has basically turned into, let's farm out the game. So I'm an offensive coach, so I go hire a defensive coach who does defense. I do offense, and I go sit down on the bench with the quarterback and the iPad when the defense is on the field, and I'm sitting there talking to the quarterback. Now, you see this right here when the guy cuts in and they do that. Like, hey, they throw the flag. You got to see it. I mean, yesterday, and I don't want to sound like Vrabel because we used to ask Vrabel, or the media used to ask Vrabel all the time, like, why didn't you challenge this? Oh, yeah, they're not going to change these guys. Why would I throw the flag? I saw the Stafford sneak in lifetime. I didn't think Stafford got it. And I see all the Rams players are looking at him like, throw it. And he's standing there and he's like, And I'm like, you don't have any timeouts left. You're trailing in the fourth quarter. This is your last challenge. Like, what are you doing? No. That was, I think, the first challenge. I'm like, what are you doing? They're not going to overturn a sneak because there's no camera that can get in there anyways to see all the big bodies unless it's just a grossly blatant bad one. And that's where you got to have your guys being like, I don't think so, Sean. We can't challenge him. But he wanted to. And you could see him with the flag in his hands on the sidelines like he wanted to. He didn't realize how big the timeout was and everything else. Then the second one, they stopped the Niners on 3rd and 2. The Niners run the ball, and they wanted to see if it was a fumble. And he threw the flag. And they show the replay. The guy was down twice. So instead of 4th and 2, where they're punting to you anyways, and they weren't going to put Jimmy on the field to run a 4th and 2. Not after he screwed it up against Dallas when they didn't let the tackle get set. So they're punting on 4th and 2. And you throw the challenge flag, lose your last challenge, lose your timeout on a play that you had to look at one replay from Fox to say, oh, yeah, now he's down. And he threw the flag anyways. That is poor coaching. I mean, just horrible. You're getting the ball anyways. The difference there is like 20 yards. So you got a chance at 20 yards. The ramifications are you lose your timeout, you lose your challenge, and all you get is 20 yards in field position. And he did it anyways. Oh, my God, that was awful. Oh, it was awful. And those are the things that get you beat. Now, it won't get you beat against Jimmy Garoppolo, but it'll get you beat against somebody better. That'll get you beat. And so I just, he pooped his pants in the Super Bowl against Belichick. And I saw that yesterday, and I was like, oh, my God. And I'm like, if they win this game, it's like the 49ers Dallas game where nobody gave Jimmy or Shanahan any blame for their mistakes that allowed Dallas back into the game. And nobody talked about it. And
because it was overshadowed by Dallas's mistakes.
Or it's just we live in a society where if you win, everything is forgiven.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that.
Oh. I mean, Garoppolo was terrible in the playoffs this year. And people are like, hey, Jimmy proved that he's going to. Okay, yeah, you do that. Good luck to you, Raiders. You're going to go hire Josh McDaniels. He's going to ship Derek Carr out of there just like he shipped out Jay Cutler in Denver, though I'm not a huge Cutler guy. Ships out Cutler, brings in Tebow because he wanted Matt Castle. He's going to bring in Jimmy. They're going to sign him. Good luck to you. Let's go back to your phones. Bill is up next here on Going All In. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, guys. It's amazing that McVay's done as well as he's done, being as stupid as he is, huh?
Sometimes I don't know how they do it in this league.
Oh man, he's young, dude. I think he's got some growth to do. I think he's got a pretty good start to his career. But a few years ago, people were saying the same thing about the Rams when they traded for Marcus Peters and they brought in Aqib Talib and they signed Sue. And people were saying, "Oh, well, the Rams after this year they're screwed." But man, they just keep on finding ways to bring guys in, and they, haven't won a Super Bowl yet, and they may not win this one. But they're always trying. McVay and Snead are always trying to bring players in that are ready to help you now. They draft guys on the back end, that role players and all that kind of stuff. But man, they are trying to bring stars in, and it's working. This all in with Stafford thing, man. They unloaded Goff's contract. Goff, that not only did they get rid of Goff, they got rid of his contract. They give up, a first round pick. I mean, and look at Stafford, man. He is, like I said, he may not win the Super Bowl, but is he a major upgrade over Goff or what? I mean, and does that mean next year?
They didn't get rid of Goff's contract. They're still paying $24 million against the cap this year for Jared Goff.
They unloaded. They ain't got to pay for him after this year. Would you rather have Goff or Stafford? The proof's in the pudding, man. Goff was a turnover waiting to happen.
I hear you, Bill. I appreciate your call. I do agree with the gist of that call. That is, I sit here, and when they made the Julio Jones trade, I was like, oh, the salary cap, and I kind of think the Rams are proving that the cap is kind of bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We've already gone over multiple ways to get out of this Tannehill contract, which the Titans should have never been in the situation they're in now. But there's ways to do it.
It also amazes me that the Chiefs have room in their cap to pay all of those guys they have.
Every year. It's like, here comes a new contract for Travis Kelce. It'll make him the highest paid tight end in the history of the NFL. And here's this, and here.
Patrick Mahomes' massive contract.
And it's like, they just kick it on down, kick it on down, kick it on down. And you can sit there and say, like, well, eventually you have to pay for it, and eventually it comes to roost. And, what did the Rams not get this year that they could have had with $24 million extra dollars in cap? I'm sure there's something that they didn't have, but I don't look at the Rams roster and think, man, they really want for players.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make me think that the armchair GMing of the not totally accurate salary cap websites are maybe doing a disservice to people's understanding of what's real and what's not. Because I do think with the Rams, they just go get whoever they want every year. Just every year.
And they're willing to deal picks for it.
Every year, they get whoever they want. Think about all the picks they give up to the Titans. They give up all those picks for Jared Goff. The Titans have been to the playoffs in large part thanks to that trade, 4 out of the last 5 years? I think that's right. Vrabel's first year they didn't go. He's been 3. Malarkey went once. So they went 4 out of 5 years, a year after the Goff trade. I think the Rams have been 4 out of 5 years, but they've been to 2 Super Bowls, and you've been to 0 Super Bowls. Now, in fairness, you played in the conference with Tom Brady, and they didn't play in the conference with Tom Brady. Now that they're playing in the conference with Tom Brady, makes it a little bit more difficult. See last year. But I still think, that the way the Rams do business and the way you do business, I think you can start doing a little bit more like the Rams. And I was not a fan of this stuff. So I do think the caller has a point there. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get back to your calls and your texts here on the program. And by the way, can I just say the opening of that call where it's like, oh, man, I think McVay's doing pretty good, huh? Like, that's my whole point. Guy can totally butcher the end of a game strategically, but it's like, hey, he won, so who cares?
He's going to the Super Bowl, so it
he
doesn't
won,
matter.
so who cares? Who cares?
Super Bowl heals everything.
Oh, man. It's like Tannehill had those bad games we talk about. Oh, Jared, they won. Okay, fine. Whatever. Coming up next, for Titan fans, I think yesterday had to be really hard. How do you think John Robinson felt about it? We'll discuss next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
274 yards, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. You're not going to win a game that way.
The voice of the fan.
I'm tired of let's just give it to a quarterback.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Tune in every Wednesday night this hockey season for Smashville Live from 6 to 7 p.m. Smashville Live features exclusive interaction with Nashville Predators players, broadcasters, and celebrities. They'll break down the latest on the ice. Listen every Wednesday night at 6 on ESPN 102.5 The Game, or you can now watch live on thegamenashville.com, Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube. Smashville Live is presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, the official vodka of the NHL, Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
Signs First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Wow, I've got a whole 5 minutes before my next call. What should I do? Grab a snack? Nah. Text with mom? That's more than a 5-minute proposition. I have been looking at getting a new bank account. Is that even possible?
Can't believe you have extra time? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live-in-the-moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Cromwell Media, the owner of this radio station, is a local business built upon service to our community, to our listeners, and to our customers. We try to reflect that in everything we do. When someone joins our team, they too embrace that philosophy. And this month, we're saluting Christy Maffett in our sales department, along with Dagwood and Haley St. John, who are on the air at 102.9 The Buzz. Dagwood is celebrating 23 years with us, Christy 22 years, and Haley has been a teammate for 9 years. Thank you all for your service to our company and for making Cromwell Media such a great place to work.
You probably wouldn't leave thousands of dollars on the table at a diner. Why leave thousands on the table with your tax return? Jackson Hewitt will help make sure you don't. This year, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help you track down every last one, so you get your biggest refund guaranteed. Don't leave thousands on the table this year. Discover thousands of dollars in tax credits instead.
Check, please.
Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Nashville, don't miss out on Vanderbilt women's basketball. Join Nashville native Jordan Cambridge, head coach Shea Ralph, and the rest of the Commodores as they compete in SEC play. Exciting matchups are coming up, including showdowns against Tennessee, Kentucky, and a whole lot more. For tickets, go to VUCommodores.com or call 877-44-VANDY. Enjoy Memorial Magic this season and anchor down.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Sparkling, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark drink. Focus.com, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So yesterday, the Bengals punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. Apparently, more people bet on the Houston Texans before the season to win the Super Bowl than did the Cincinnati Bengals.
What? That is crazy.
I mean, I don't think I certainly did not expect the Cincinnati Bengals to compete for the Super Bowl.
But the Texans?
I mean, hey, maybe they thought it was. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. The Rams, I'm sure a lot of people bet on to make it to the Super Bowl this year. Not really an interesting Super Bowl to me. Like, I mean, I'm going to obviously watch and care and all of that stuff. But I'm not, like, this is not going to be, I think, one of, like, the ones which is, like last year's, which was Brady at his home, first one, Tampa Bay, Patrick Mahomes. Like, yes. I don't think that, like, Cincinnati and the Rams is, like, a great Super Bowl from a story standpoint, but then again, the highest rated television show in the history of TV is a Cincinnati-San Francisco Super Bowl in like 1986, 88, 85? I can't remember. So anywho, I do wonder this question, though. And we opened the show today talking about the fact that when the ball went through the uprights of the AFC Championship game, honestly, when the game went to overtime, I thought, oh my God, this was the Titans. And I texted somebody who works for the Titans, who's worked for the Titans for a long time, and I told them, I said, this doesn't hurt as much as 2000 against the Ravens, where the Titans and the Ravens had an absolute dogfight in the divisional round of the playoffs at Nissan Stadium. Then the Ravens went to Oakland, smoked the Raiders. Then they went to the Super Bowl and smoked the Giants, where you knew that the Super Bowl was played at Nissan Stadium and you lost because your kicker missed 4 field goals. But it's not far behind. And it'll get only worse if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, but it's really not far behind. I think about the Chiefs because everybody builds up certain teams. And with the Chiefs, they are the Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. 4 straight AFC title games, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. They won a Super Bowl. They've got a franchise quarterback. They got a Hall of Fame coach. Chiefs, Chiefs, Chiefs. But the Chiefs played Buffalo twice, Tennessee, Cincinnati twice. So they played the other division winners. They lost 4 times. They lost twice to the Bengals. They got smoked at home by Buffalo. They got smoked in Tennessee. They won 1. Last week against Buffalo, down to the wire, in overtime, game decided by a coin toss. Doesn't that kind of tell us that Kansas City is probably 4 out of 4 when you were to rank the best teams in the AFC? And maybe you can argue and quabble about Buffalo. But again, they got smoked by Tennessee. They got smoked by Buffalo. They got beat at home by Cincinnati. They got beat on the road by Cincinnati. They beat Buffalo in overtime. Whereas the Titans beat the Rams, beat the Niners, beat the Chiefs, beat the Bills. They did all of it. They just didn't beat the Bengals. So they were 4-1. Chiefs were 1-4. And I just, as I see that ball go through the uprights, I'm like, oh my God. It's even worse than you thought. And again, I think if you are logical, like if you're logical about thinking why the Titans are sitting at home. And I know Taylor Lewan can say whatever he wants on the Taylor Lewan Bussin' with the Boys podcast about, hey, we're ride or die with Tannehill. But if you're in like a management position, ownership position, you can't think you're ride or die with any of those 53 players because they are essentially assets. It is a job. They work for you. Do you think John Robinson saw that ball go through the uprights yesterday and thought, oh, God. I finally built a team that was good enough to do this. You know, I built a team that was pretty good in 2019, but they caught fire. They played tough. They got to the AFC Championship game. Salute. Proud of those guys. Built a team last year. Took some risks on defense. It didn't work out. I invested in guys that couldn't play anymore, like Daquan Jones and Adoree Jackson. And so, honestly, we won a division, but I didn't build a team that was good enough to really compete at the highest level. Salute to those guys. But do you think as he saw that ball from Evan McPherson, a kicker, by the way, whom the Titans could have drafted many a time, and we have talked about the fact that the Titans have not invested any draft picks at kicker, but boy, don't stop them from drafting Cole McDonald or Des Fitzpatrick. So as Evan McPherson, as the ball goes through the uprights, and I do think this McPherson, by the way, might be the next Justin Tucker, the Baltimore kicker.
Uh-huh.
I think he might be that next guy. But so as the ball's going through the uprights, and it, bang, goes right through there, bang, in there, do you think he thought, I built a team that should be in the Super Bowl today? Or do you think he thinks, well, just tough luck of it, bad day for Ryan Tannehill, we'll recover and give it our best next year? Or do you think he thought, oh, my God, I had a team. I had a team. And I will compare this and how the results affect all this. The Predators won the President's Trophy in 2018, and they lost to Winnipeg in Game 7 of the second. Pekka had a horrible day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Pekka, including the year before, had a lot more skins on the wall than Ryan Tannehill did. But
that's a good player having a bad day.
But they lost. And it was tough. And I think everybody around here expected Winnipeg to go on and win the Cup. But I don't think anybody thought that, the Predators just didn't show up. They just got beat. And I was okay with it. I obviously wanted them to win, but I was okay with it. And then when Winnipeg lost in the next round to Vegas, and Vegas went to the Cup final, and they lost to Washington, it was like, were you really that close? I can tell you that I think if they had beaten Winnipeg, they would have won the Cup. But were they really that close? I don't know. You certainly don't feel that way when the team that you lost to loses in 5 games or whatever it was in the next round. Then you're kind of like, maybe we overrated these two teams. I don't know. But when you see that ball go through the uprights and you see Cincinnati hat and T-shirts, when you know that you could have thrown 2 horrible interceptions and still won the game, but then you had to throw the third one, that's when I wonder how he feels. Because it doesn't matter how I feel about Ryan Tannehill. It doesn't matter how you feel about Ryan Tannehill. It doesn't matter how, Johnny in Section 346 thinks of Ryan Tannehill. And it doesn't matter if they blame Tannehill or if they think that this team none of that matters. It only matters what he thinks. One of my best, the guy I really looked up to when I was in college, he was a graduate assistant at Louisville when I was a manager in the women's basketball team. And he is now the interim athletic director at Louisville. And he and I go way back. I looked up to him when I was 19. He was kind of like a mentor to me. Because he was 31 or something, and now he's 42 or whatever. But he's hiring the next basketball coach at Louisville. I think that is a top 50 job in all of sports. Head coach of the Cowboys, manager of the Yankees, coach of the Lakers. Those things are at the top. And I think Louisville's probably a top 10 college basketball job. So he's making this hire. And everybody has an opinion. Every radio show, every TV show, this is who they need to hire. The only thing that matters is who he thinks. It doesn't matter what you think. Oh, you know what? They need to go get that Kentucky assistant who was with the New York Knicks. They need to go hire him. What's he think? I don't know. But it doesn't matter what you think. And so I do wonder, this is a long-winded way of, what do you think John Robinson thought yesterday when the Bengals ball went through the uprights and when Matthew Stafford won the game for the Rams?
Well, you said, do you think he feels like, dang, this was my opportunity to go to a Super Bowl? Or was it tough luck, better luck next year? If he thinks the latter, then I don't know how you can have that kind of position in football. Because I don't know how you watch those games yesterday and not just get so incredibly angry that my team was better than this team. My team beat that team and could have done it again.
But
especially with the way they played in the second half.
But my quarterback, who I gave the world to, stinks.
My quarterback is the reason why we weren't.
So the question
is... And you can pick out all different things that happened in that Bengals-Titans game, but when it comes down to it,
it's the quarterback.
It's the quarterback.
They know it's
the
quarterback. They know it's the quarterback.
They have to know it's the quarterback. They have to know.
So how do you think he felt yesterday?
I mean, I think that he... any of these teams. I have a team that's beaten the Chiefs, the 49ers, and the Rams. 3 out of the 4 teams, and the Bills. 3 out of the 4 teams playing on Championship Sunday. why am I not there? And then I look back and reflect, why am I not there? Is it because Nick Westbrook-Akina couldn't get a first down? No. Was it because we had some busted coverage in the backfield? No. It was because my quarterback threw 3 interceptions. That's how I would feel. I don't know John Robinson. I don't know how he felt watching those games yesterday.
Well, even if you did know John Robinson, I can promise you that he would never tell you.
Correct. But if I were him, if I was in that position, and I knew that I had a team poised to compete right now and really could have competed this year, but there was one person that got in the way of that, I would have to make a change. I mean, I would have to.
Or at least you would think that you'd have to do everything in your power in order to figure out if you can.
Exactly.
615-737-1025 to your phones after these words. Plus, what one general manager is convinced of when it comes to your quarterback. That's next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Every Thursday at 1 on Darren, Donick, and Chase, we're joined by Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman for the best inside knowledge on the NHL. It's all brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage on ESPN 1025 The Game.
When purchasing your next vehicle, it's nice to know that you can deal with a locally owned dealership like Payne Chevrolet that has been in the same family for over 96 years. Home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on new and pre-owned vehicles, Payne Chevrolet also makes it easy to shop. You can literally go to PayneChevrolet.com, point, click, and drive away in your new or pre-owned vehicle. Check out Payne Chevrolet in Springfield on Memorial Boulevard or go to PayneChevrolet.com. Payne Chevrolet, 9 decades, 4 generations, and 1 tradition.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired Braves pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed, and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and the regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics?
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. And to celebrate, new customers can bet $5 to win $280 in cash on either team to win when you use promo code ROB when registering. That's right, you'll get your winnings in cold, hard cash, because we know cash is always better than free bets. The Bengals kind of feel like the team of destiny to me, and I know that doesn't make Titans fans very happy, but give me Joe Burrow and company to get it done. This is just a special group, it feels like. But you take it any way you want to take it. Whatever you do, just make sure you don't miss your chance to turn $5 into $280 in cash. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, use promo code ROB to make every moment more in this Super Bowl. Again, that promo code is ROB, exclusively on FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only, a $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market, a max bonus of $280. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
We just said they can't win a Super Bowl with Ryan.
I'm not saying that. You guys are saying that. If that's what you're saying. I don't know if A.J. Brown is saying
Well, the head coach said it.
He didn't say that. He said you've got to have a great team around Ryan Tannehill to win.
Okay, Willie, which means if everything's not perfect, Ryan's not going to win us a Super Bowl. He's just not going to do it. So everybody needs to be great. And what did I say last week? That's just not going to happen. In other words, he's saying, Ryan's really not our guy, but we stuck with him.
There you go. That was D-Mace earlier today on the Midday Show. By the way, it is great to have D-Mace back on the radio station, but I do wonder if other people are interpreting the Vrabel "we have to be great around him" as the way that D-Mace is interpreting it. The fact that it's like kind of like an admission that he's not as good as everybody else.
It feels like a backhanded compliment, like a football equivalent of "bless your heart." We got to be good around him. That's not necessarily a glowing endorsement.
I've told you, Vrabel will be at the Pro Bowl coaching this week. Russell Wilson will be playing as an injury replacement for Tom Brady. Tamper. All I want is tampering. If the Titans get charged with tampering for this weekend at the Pro Bowl, I will gladly endorse the pick that they lose and not care about the money that they will be fined that I won't have to pay.
That's easy for you to say,
sure.
isn't it? Yeah.
But what do I care?
Yeah, it's true.
I'll say this. My family been season ticket holders for 25 years or however long it's been. They paid a lot of money to the Titans for a lot of bad football. So guess what? If you got to pay $300,000 because Tannehill sells Russell Wilson on replacing Tannehill at the Pro Bowl and you end up doing it, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too.
There you go. Let's go back to your phone, 615-737-125. Oh, excuse me. Well, we'll get to the Tannenbaum thing in a second. Adam in Portland has been waiting patiently. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go ahead, Adam.
Man, I feel like you and Miss Caroline sound terrible today.
Hey, you were on board with us last week about Tannehill. Now you're against it. I heard you called the midday show or morning show or whoever you called, and you were like, "Hey, I think that we should draft around Tannehill to go win." I'm like, "What happened last Monday when you wanted to get rid of him?"
Listen. I'm not saying that it's that you shouldn't be mad at Tannehill. I'm saying what you're saying doesn't sound realistic. And you're the only person talking about Russell Wilson. They're putting it into your commercials like it's so bad. Like you're going to be so disappointed and let down. It's not happening. Nobody's going to pay
Why can the Rams do it, but you can't do it?
For that dude. It's not happening.
Who's paying $40 million? Who's paying $40 million?
Seattle is not going to pick him up, man. They don't want to do that. It's not happening. Just get it out of your head. Think of something else to talk about.
Who's paying $40 million? Who's paying $40 million, Adam?
Well, we might have to pick up part of it if we got rid of it, but then we got to pay Russ. It's not happening, Jared. It's not. There's no way.
So the money would be the only $40 million it would be is if there was a trade between the Titans and the Seahawks before June 1st. It is significantly less for both teams if it's after June 1st. But if it's before June 1st, the Titans would have like a $47.4 million cap charge for next year at the quarterback position. The Rams currently have a $44 million cap charge at quarterback between both Stafford and Goff for this season. It's like people think that the Titans have no chance of doing what the Rams did. And it's like, why not? Why not?
And at this point, why are you just labeling it as it's not going to happen? It's so early.
If Robinson saw that football go through the uprights yesterday and he thought, I built a team that should be in the Super Bowl right now, and Ryan Tannehill blew it. If he feels that way, then he needs to investigate every little nook and cranny possible.
I think Russell Wilson is a possibility.
Tamper. And I don't care who starts the tampering. If Russell's going to the Pro Bowl, if Russell was like, hey, Dak doesn't want in, I'll go. Because I do wonder this, right? Like, they only pick so many Pro Bowl alternates. Mm-hmm. How many quarterbacks do they pick as alternates for the Pro Bowl?
I mean, they may have to go down the list if all of these quarterbacks are saying
I mean, Kirk Cousins got in already.
Oh, boy.
And
that's when you know.
Dak turned it down, and Russell's going. What if Russell called the league? Again, this is a TV show, the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. What if Russell called the league and said, hey, I'll play? Because it's like, hey, we're looking for guys. You know, I know you didn't really play much this year, but if we don't take you, then we have to take, like, who's an average quarterback that had a decent season this year?
Carr.
Derek Carr.
Well, yeah, but he plays in the AFC.
Oh,
but,
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying enough attention.
like, just does, yeah, no, you're good. But just, you know, if we don't do this, then we have to take Kyle Allen, or we have to take Taylor Heineke. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't want to take Taylor Heineke.
Teddy Bridgewater.
So, you know, well, he plays
also
in the
AFC.
Too. So it's like, you know what, Russell, will you please? Like, will you please for us? Or Russell calls and is like, hey, I'd be willing to play. Really? Well, hey, we can play Russell. Well, you know, Taylor Heineke played more this season than Russell did. It's the Pro Bowl. Put Russell in. And if Russell wanted to go, because Vrabel's going to be there, and maybe Russell can instigate the tampering.
But I mean, I just go back to Adam's point of, it's 40 whatever $1 million for.
He doesn't even know.
But if it is, who cares? If you know that you can't win with Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback, are you not willing to dish out the 40-something million for something new, for the possibility of potentially competing for a Super Bowl? Because I've seen a few texts in the text line that ask, if the Titans get Russell Wilson, are they automatically a Super Bowl contender?
They're a Super Bowl contender now. They should be in the Super Bowl. So, yes.
Is that your end goal, or is your end goal to pinch pennies? Because mine is to win a Super Bowl.
They're the second best team in the AFC if they get Russell Wilson today. Like if I'm talking about for next year. And I don't know what Buffalo's cap situation is, and Buffalo's going to have a new offensive coordinator. That screws things up. Jim Schwartz, when he left last time, Titans were second in points scored on defense, 28th the next year. Now, they lost Albert Haynesworth and Kyle Vandenbosch got hurt, so it wasn't just Jim Schwartz. But coordinators matter. So Buffalo just lost their offensive coordinator. So maybe they're not going to be as good. Hell, look at you when you lost your offensive coordinator. So it's going to be a different year next year. I mean, right now, Cincinnati's going to be the favorite to go win the AFC next year.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I think the Titans are right there if you get Russell. Davis is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Davis.
Jared, I can think of a real good candidate for a quarterback for the Titans. I think it would be a quarterback who beat the Titans, who beat the Bills, who beat the 49ers, who beat the Chiefs.
Beat them in the playoffs?
What about the playoffs? You think
is he the same quarterback? Hey, is he the same quarterback that cost you the game against the Ravens? Is he the same quarterback that has played 5 playoff games for the Titans?
Goodness.
He's played 5 playoff games for the Titans, and he has not. 5 playoff games for the Titans. He's 2-3, and he has not thrown for 100 yards. 100 yards in either of the 2 wins. Is that what you're talking about, Davis?
Because Derrick Henry was running for 250 yards. And he did that, by the way, Jared, without Derrick Henry for more than half the season. You are so full of it. Goodbye.
Other than the Rams, who'd he beat that was any good without Derrick Henry?
I don't know.
San Francisco could be your only argument, and the only reason you won that game is because of AJ and Jimmy Garoppolo. That's it.
And I hear people
they won
saying,
in spite of him.
Ryan Tannehill winning all these games. I understand that Ryan Tannehill quarterbacked that team that beat those teams, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Ryan Tannehill beat those teams.
I think, it's weird. I said this to start the show, that I feel as if we all have that friend that just constantly talks about their breakup or their boss they hate, or they just never shut up about something. Or if you have a friend that went to a really good school and it's well, I went to Vanderbilt, and at Vanderbilt what we did, it's dude, shut up.
We get it.
That's how I feel about me and Tannehill. I feel like that's how everybody's perceiving me when it comes to Tannehill. But then I hear these crazy takes, and it's well, goodness gracious. This guy was just screaming at the top of his lungs that they beat the Bills because of Tannehill. Tannehill was awful until the fourth quarter of that game. Awful. Tannehill was awful in the first half against San Francisco.
And I feel like in so many of these games, I'm holding my breath because I'm so worried about whose hands the football's going to end up in. Don't you want to, not hold your breath every time Ryan Tannehill releases the football? Don't you want to have a little bit more faith in your quarterback? And I hear the caller talking about, he doesn't need to throw for more than 100 yards because there's Derrick Henry running for 250. How much longer can he do that? Because I don't want to be on the other side of Derrick Henry's descent, which is going to happen inevitably. I understand that we think Derrick Henry is inhuman, but, it's going to happen. I don't want to be stuck with a declining running back and a bad quarterback.
As a Titans fan. So I'm taking the talk analyst hat off. As a fan, this is the second hardest playoffs in 23 years. So 2000, lose to the Ravens, number 1 seed, at home. Ray Lewis the previous year had been involved in that double murder, and he's the one that's, beating you in Super Bowl MVP, and you, as a fan, you're looking at it like that guy should be in jail, and that's our Super Bowl because Al Del Greco forgot how to kick. That's number one. This is number two. So it's above 2008 when the Titans were the number one seed in the AFC, lost to the Ravens, and Big Ben, who they beat earlier in, I think, right before Christmas to get the one seed at Nissan Stadium. Big Ben, they beat him, and it's worse than that because even though the Titans probably could have won that Super Bowl that year, you just kind of felt like that team was a house of cards anyways that was just eventually with Kerry Collins at quarterback going to fall apart, and it did. And so, and maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like this one was worse than that. It's worse than when they lost to Oakland in the AFC Championship game at Oakland because Robert Holcomb fumbled the football because that team was, at home. They were really good. Rich Gannon, Jerry Rice, Tim Brown. It's worse than when Drew Bennett dropped the football at New England, and there were the rumors that New England was doctoring the football, the first rumors that had come out that New England was doctoring a football. It's certainly worse than when Vince Young got picked off all those times against the Chargers. It's worse than when Malarkey lost to New England. It's worse than last year. It's worse than the AFC Championship game. I think it's worse than Super Bowl 34. At least you got to Super Bowl 34 and you lost by a yard. This is number two. Ravens number one. This one's number two. Back to your phones after these words, plus the Mike Tannenbaum thing that I want to get to next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, it's me, Chase McCabe, telling you how you can score big on the NBA action with a special offer from, you guessed it, BetMGM. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game. If either team hits a three-pointer, you'll win $200 in free bets regardless of your bet's outcome. All you have to do is use the code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy the NBA action like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and their daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Plus, you can earn M-Life rewards through BetMGM Online Play to use at any MGM resort nationwide. Turn loyalty points into comps for room nights, restaurants, and more. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Now through February 2nd, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, mother of very fussy triplets and one very colicky husband.
Especially you, Supermom. You'll release endorphins and have more energy.
I remember having energy.
Start feeling fit-tacular today. Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 2nd. See club for details.
You're thinking about making a change. You've put in the years, you've had success, but you're ready for something more, something better, something to call your own. Good news. Little Guys Movers is looking for folks just like you to own and operate their very own Little Guys Movers franchise. No matter where you are, if you can hear my voice, there's an affordable, profitable Little Guys franchise opportunity nearby. If you're ready to step up, today's the day. Join a team with 25 plus years of growth and good times. Learn more at littleguysfranchise.com and then make that call.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 1025 The Game.
We are in a local media scolding season where they come out and say, no, don't wish for better. Don't expect better from this team that could have won a Super Bowl. You guys, you take your vegetables and you eat it, and you eat all those vegetables, because there is no way you're going to get what you want, because there is no way that Ryan Tannehill is not going to be the quarterback of this team. I hate that more than anything. When media gets on this lecture circuit with fans who help pay their salaries and tell them what they can't do. What's wrong with someone saying the Titans and John Robinson should be doing everything possible to upgrade every position, and the top position you must upgrade is quarterback. So they should be trying everything to make sure they are in the best possible position at quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that.
There you go. That was Chad Withrow, Outkick 360 on our show Friday. And I think it's well said. What's wrong with saying you got to look at the quarterback position? But some people get mad about it.
I mean, just look into alternatives. You're not stuck with anything.
So Mike Tannenbaum was on our show, ESPN, former NFL general manager. He was the vice president for football operations. He was the guy in charge of the players at Miami. Mm-hmm. Tannehill wasn't good enough for whatever reason in Miami. They had Jarvis Landry. They had Kenny Stills. I mean, they had good players in Miami. They didn't have a bunch of great players, but they had Jay Ajayi. I mean, they had good players.
Yeah.
They got fired. So Tannehill was his quarterback. They got fired. And yet we've talked about how the guys that love Tannehill just love him. Just worship the ground that he walks on.
The boys ride or die with Tanny.
Ride, and they died. And they'd be playing if he didn't turn the ball over 3 times. I'm convinced of it. So Mike Tannenbaum was on our show, and I asked him, what would you say to Titan fans who are so bummed out? And now I think even more bummed out after Cincinnati won yesterday. What would you say to Titan fans that looked at those interceptions? Here's what he said.
Hey, it could be a lot worse if you were the 1 seed. And a really good player had a bad day at the office, but you got a head coach, a GM, and a quarterback, and that's a great place to start.
Oh, God.
I hate it could be a lot worse.
God.
It could be so much worse. Like, I know you just got bounced in the divisional round of the playoffs at home after you had the first round bye, but, like, it could be worse.
It could be worse. I mean, you know.
Sorry that your dog's dead, but it could be worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's really like.
That's not necessarily encouraging.
It's like there were 3 guys that were part of the Apple thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or Microsoft. 3 guys that were a part of, maybe it was Apple, I can't remember. One of them. Ballmer, Gates, and some other guy.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
And
the guy cashed out for like $25,000. And it's like, hey, you got $25,000. It could be worse.
It could be worse.
And
like, a year of your kid's tuition at school.
Here's Ballmer courtside at the Clippers because he paid $5 billion for him, and it was a drop in the bucket. Oh my God! Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. Can we get Mike Tannenbaum one more time? His message for Titan fans.
Hey, it could be a lot worse if you were the 1 seed, and a really good player had a bad day at the office, but you got a head coach, a GM, and a quarterback, and that's a great place to start.
This guy was the general manager of the New York Jets. Could you imagine if he went on New York radio when he was the general manager of the Jets and he said, you know, hey, they were the 1 seed. I know the Jets lost in the playoffs to Joe Flacco, but hey, you know what? They were the 1 seed, and you got to, it's on a...
Hey, Titans fans, it could be worse. You could be the Jets.
It could be worse, Jets fans. Guess what? They don't want to hear that in New York.
No.
They would barbecue him out of town if he had said that.
I think he knows that, too.
I do wonder, though, and I am not saying, Tannenbaum said what he said. I do wonder, I asked you after the show, if he texted Tannehill after he got off the interview and was like, "Yeah, I just went on a station in Nashville. They are crushing you."
But I supported you.
But I was there for you. I had your back.
Because
hey,
I'm a boy and I ride or die.
believed in you. And if, like, Tannenbaum really thinks that, or if Tannenbaum's like, man, I really wanted this to work for Ryan, and it really didn't.
I think he actually believes it.
You got a great coach, great general manager, great quarterback, and that's a great place to start. And you were the 1 seed last year.
So it could be worse.
You know.
I view it as you had the 1 seed and you lost in the divisional
round. And the Bengals, oh, God, the Bengals are in the Super Bowl with a what-he-is head coach.
Close one there.
That guy is such a guy.
Coach game ball.
Oh, God. Now, defensive coordinator, I mean, nobody is talking about the fact that he went in at halftime and clearly out-coached Andy Reid.
That felt like 2 different games.
Oh,
Sunday.
He worked Andy Reid over yesterday. And then Joe Burrow's bad dude. And let's say this, as I tweeted out yesterday, the Titans in the 4th round traded up to draft make it out of training camp. It's been a problem. It's been Suck Up. It's been Cairo Santos. It's been Cody Parkey. It's been Ryan Santoso. It's been Greg Joseph. It's been Tucker McCann. It's been Blake Hobbiel. It's been Sam Ficken. It's been Michael Badgley. It's been Randy Bullock, who can't kick over 45 yards. And in the 5th round of the draft, the Bengals went out and got this kicker out of Florida who might be, honest to God, like the next Justin Tucker of the Ravens and the next Adam Vinatieri put together into one. And I say might be because, I mean, those are some big shoes. And it's easy to sit there and say, well, you look down a draft and say, oh, I mean, you drafted Robert Smith in the 6th round in 2000, and 3 picks later, Tom Brady was drafted. Like, it's easy to do that. Mm-hmm. But, like, Robert Smith was still a good player, you know? And, like, the Titans didn't have a need at quarterback or, like, Titans have been needing to invest a kicker for forever. They never have. And it's like, oh, my God, if you had this kicker, this entire season is different. You probably tie the Jets. You know, you just, oh, goodness gracious.
Would you not have gone absolutely ballistic if the Titans would have drafted a kicker?
I mean, the Titans were drafting like Racey McMath at that point. I'm not sure I really cared. I went absolutely ballistic when they were drafting in the 2nd round people I'd never heard of.
That is also fair. And I think you also went ballistic in the 1st round.
No. I was against it. Like, when I heard about back discs injury, everything, like, I was like, nope, not good for me. Chris was the one that went nuts, Chris Sanders, when they made that pick. Somebody texted me and said, I know you're doing a radio show, but you are off your rocker. Some of the stuff you were saying is absolutely crazy. So I asked,
what is it?
What? That Russell Wilson called the league and volunteered to play in the Pro Bowl.
That is a bit of a stretch.
Okay, I just said, what if?
I don't know, but it's a stretch.
He's just trying to do networking. He wants to network some. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a networker.
So the second
big LinkedIn guy.
The second thing that's crazy is that he's going there to be tampered with. You don't think tampering happens at the Pro Bowl?
I mean, I'm sure tampering happens everywhere.
Let's
not act like teams don't look outside the rules.
All I know is that Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford and their partners, as Peter King put it today, because I think Stafford's married, McVay's not. So I think it's like McVay's girlfriend. And that they just happened to be at the same resort in Cabo San Lucas last year and just happened to start talking football. I read that. I'm like, isn't them talking football tampering?
I don't know the specific boundaries of what is talking and what is tampering. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you blatantly set up a meeting and talk about the future together, then yes, that's tampering.
Right. Like if Mike Vrabel goes up to Russell Wilson when they're shaking hands at the end of the Pro Bowl this week and says, hey, Russ, I want to get rid of Tannehill because he cost us the game. Please come to the Titans.
That's tampering.
Absolutely. If they're talking after the game and it's like, hey, great game, dude. Really proud of you. You know, love everything you bring. And any team in the league could use a guy like you. Like, the message is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not tampering, is it?
I don't know. I would doubt it, because if that's tampering, then everyone's tampering.
Then every time that they go and hold hands and take a knee and pray after the game, it's tampering.
Yes. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like tampering, but it also sounds like it could be like a blurred line. Where
Well,
they're
I
just
want
like,
tampering.
Don't do it again.
I want tampering. Go tamper.
Until you get mad that they've got they got no second round pick. But also, they don't have a second round pick already, thanks to Julio. So what's the worst thing that could happen?
What is the worst charge for tampering that the NFL has ever given out?
That's a good question.
I mean, it can't be that bad.
I'm sure there are degrees of tampering also. Like Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay running into each other in Cabo and tapping to talk football, I think is different than Randy Moss putting on a disguise and flying to Minnesota to talk to Tom Brady.
Definitely tampering.
That's definitely tampering.
All right, back to your phones after this. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, plus a realization of the AFC that I do think is kind of interesting, but we'll get back to your words next. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear and cold overnight as we drop down to about the freezing mark. Tuesday is your day to be out and about. Highs will reach the low 60s with lots of sunshine. Heavy rain arrives by Wednesday. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-819-1120. That's 800-819-1120. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-819-1120 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Is 2022 the year mortgage rates jump up big time? Who knows? But right now, rates are still super low, and you should consider doing a quick home refi with Loan Pronto now. Willie Donick here. New year, new loan, new lower house payment. Call Loan Pronto now and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. You can refi now, get a rate with no junk fees and no closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy, virtually no paperwork required. And most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So do the smart thing for 2022 and stop putting it off. Call Loan Pronto now. Rates are still really low. If your current APR is over 3, call now. You've got nothing to lose. See how much you can lower your house payment going into the new year. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
CSX Transportation is an industry leader on the move. The railroad company has immediate openings for freight train conductors. Join the CSX team and start your paid-on-the-job training today, earning nearly $25 per hour with no degree required. If you're safety-focused with a passion for great service, you've got what it takes to move your career forward at CSX. Apply at csx.com/careers. That's csx.com/careers. CSX is an equal opportunity employer.
Credibility. Look at me. Relatability.
False start. 5-yard penalty.
And very little athletic ability.
You got to open up the playbook.
Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe are Darren, Donick, and Chase. Weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This
is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman & Company here on a Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. DrinkFocus.com. Hey, Preds fans, join us for Smashville Live this Wednesday. The show will air on Wednesdays during the Preds season from 6 to 7, featuring Preds players, former players, and other special guests. You can watch the show via 102.5 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to join us this hockey season for Smashville Live, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. By the way, SiriusXM, and I think Preds Insiders is on after us. Great show. Listen to it. SiriusXM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Tom Brady will be on with Jim Gray. Tom. Hey, Tom. Jim Gray, and I think Ian, it's presented by Macy's, if I had to take a guess.
Booyah. Get Up Podcast or whatever it's called.
Those guys. So Larry Fitzgerald, Jim Gray, Tom Brady.
Let's go. Excuse me.
And I do believe that Brady will be talking about his retirement situation, whatever you want to call it. By the way, I do kind of miss the Jim Gray, Brady, Westwood One interviews presented by Macy's. Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom, what did you think about the fashion before the game? It reminded me about all the great things they have at Macy's. And it's like, subtle. Jim, I love Macy's. They have the best stores out there. They're just so great. Macy's. It's like, okay.
It was a seamless advertisement there.
So Ian has broken down the tampering rules for us. In fact, the Pro Bowl does have a specific – Ian has literally gone to the NFL's anti-tampering policy. Now that Russell Wilson is in the Pro Bowl, Vrabel is coaching the Pro Bowl, which is his punishment for having trusted a quarterback that threw away the divisional round of the playoffs. Vrabel and the Titans players need to tamper with Russell Wilson, and they need to want Russell Wilson to come here. They need to sell him on 9 sacks. They need to sell him on the best running back. They need to sell him on A.J. Brown and Vrabel as a coach.
I don't really think it's a hard sell, to be honest with you.
Oh, I mean, it beats all the other Pittsburgh, Washington, Carolina. Like, screw those places. No state income tax. Add that to it. We don't have that. So Ian has done the research on the tampering. What is the result of the research?
As far as discipline or just... Would you like to hear this Pro Bowl
What are the
here?
Pro Bowl rules here for tampering?
Okay, well, it says, risks of tampering charges may result from seemingly casual or indirect contacts between personnel and players who, at the time of the Pro Bowl, are still under contract to their current clubs. Clubs should clearly remind their personnel attending that the league's anti-tampering policies applies during that period of the year before free agency period starts mid-March, and that tampering violations may be based upon contacts with players at or in connection with the Pro Bowl, including when 1. Club executives in attendance engage in private conversations or meetings with a player or players under contract to another club, or club executive directly or indirectly instruct or encourage conversations or meetings involving their own players and players under contract to other organizations that can reasonably be interpreted as designed to express the club's interest in acquiring the services of such player.
So basically, tampering is tampering
Yep.
at the Pro Bowl.
Pretty much.
But let me just say this. It's also tampering at the Combine. And if you've ever been to Indianapolis during the Combine and you've ever been into the Shoeless Steakhouse, anytime after about 8 o'clock, you know tampering is a thing.
Tamper City?
Oh, I just will tell you this. I remember one time Floyd talking about like what his daily schedule was like at the Combine and how, it's just constantly interviewing players and then you're talking to agents and I was like, oh, talking to agents, so tampering. And he was like, oh, no, not
We
me.
didn't do that.
Not me.
Of course not.
No, not me. Wink, wink.
Also,
and I know he used to go to the Pro Bowl when the Pro Bowl was in Hawaii. And I think because that was also an opportunity to, wink, wink. So here you go. Here you go. Go tamper, Mike. What are the penalties, Ian?
Well, it is very, and they don't get very specific. It's not. I don't think there's any going to be like universal thing. It sounds like it's kind of a based on base, situation. But it does say the commissioner may award or transfer a selection choice or choices, and or deprive the offending club of a selection choice or choices, and or may fine the offending club and or may find or suspend with or without pay any individuals as appropriate. So it has
willing to risk it.
It has lots of relevant considerations, certification by offending club, mitigating factors, willful violations, can you prove it was by accident, all that kind of stuff. So self-reporting, little NCAA kind of feel to this, but
I'm for it.
That's another thing is who's
Mike.
Who's the tamper police?
Oh.
If you don't want someone to know that you are quote unquote
charges.
tampering.
So Seattle would file charges.
Uh-huh.
So this is how you get caught, right? Russell comes out, goes back to Seattle and says, yeah, Vrabel told me he wants me to be the quarterback of the Titans. Now Seattle files tampering charges, and now you're in some trouble. But I'm not sure anybody's ever gotten in real trouble that mattered. And I don't even care if they
a fine, a draft pick.
I don't think a head coach has ever gotten suspended over tampering.
Right.
So then who cares?
Unless it's, really bad. But I feel like everything with the NFL is so gray. There is no concrete fine or whatever it may be for anything. It
sounds like with the Peter King article where, McVay and Stafford bumped into each other and started talking football, which is all Peter King put in there.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like tampering based upon Ian, the breakdown of what is tampering. Even if it's accidental, even if it's coincidental, you can't do. Sounds like tampering to me. That's all I'm saying.
But if Peter King is putting it in an article, is it really tampering?
I mean, I think it is.
Are the Rams going to get fined?
Well, I don't think the Lions are going to file tampering charges because they made the trade.
That's true.
And the guy who's running the Lions was the second in command of the Rams. So, they're all buds anyways.
Right.
So, and that is something that you're lacking with Russell is that, other than the PR director for the Seahawks, I don't think there's a lot of crossover between Schneider, Carroll, Robinson, Vrabel. But again, go tamper. Tamp. What do we have in the text line?
One texter, Chris Titans and Truth texts in and says, it seems a lot of fans are willing to accept mediocre play from Ryan Tannehill instead of swinging for Russell because they're afraid it will fail or not work with the money. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I don't see why you're not allowed to at least explore it. Somebody said, well, I think Russell's going to want to be traded before June 1st. Well, that's a big hit to the Seahawks if they trade him before June 1st. Much smaller if they wait. But if that were the case, based upon my math, Tannehill and Russell would be 47.4 against your cap. So you're talking about a $9 million increase at the quarterback position for this year. Goff and Stafford are 44.7.
Which
so you're talking
doesn't make
about
the hit any less.
A $3 million difference. I would cut Taylor Lewan if it meant I got to upgrade at quarterback.
Who's your left tackle?
Oh, I'll figure it out.
You're going to upgrade at quarterback and then not protect him?
I'll figure it out. I mean, it's not like Taylor's doing a great job of protecting anyways. He's playing so-so, and he plays half the time.
I think that he is incredibly overpriced for the amount that he plays and the
quality of his
play. Yeah. But also, I go back to who's going to be your left tackle.
I'll figure it out.
That makes me nervous.
I don't care. I'll figure it out. I mean, look, you want to get rid of Derek? I think you saved 13 with Derek. You want to do that?
No.
Well, I'm not running the same group back out there next year. You might. I'm not. What else next?
Another texter checks in.
I feel like we haven't done enough on the AFC and NFC Championship games today. It's just too painful to watch the AFC Championship.
We'll get to it later.
Sure.
They were good games, though.
They were good
great games. Way better than the week before. But Max and West Nashville text in and
the
says,
games last week were pretty good.
Were they?
They all went down to a field goal.
Not all of them.
Uh-huh.
All of them?
Uh-huh.
I guess
or final play of the game. The one was a touchdown, technically, overtime, right? The Chiefs.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking of the week before.
Yeah.
The wild card round. What Max from West Nashville texts in and says, is Cincinnati winning the Super Bowl the worst case scenario for the Titans? I think the worst case scenario already happened for the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, if Cincinnati wins the Super Bowl, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for Burrow. Good for, you know what? Good for them. Then knock yourselves out. I mean, I'm going to enjoy the Super Bowl, even though, I will be watching it. I used to watch Super Bowl when the Titans were bad, like when Wisenhunt was the coach, and they were horrible, and I used to watch Denver and Carolina was 15-1, or the Patriots and the Legion of Boom Seahawks, and I used to think man, the Titans are so far away from these teams, and it would depress me. Now I'm going to watch it and be like, oh God, they should be there.
Which is also depressing.
And it is very, very depressing. I will say this. I don't think Andy Reid is getting enough criticism for as many times as he's choked in the playoffs. Everyone's like, what happened to Mahomes in the second half? I'm like, all I know is Donovan McNabb had a lot of these moments in the NFC title games and in the playoffs in his past. Maybe throw some shade on Andy Reid. Preds Insiders. Coming up next, we are out of here. We will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll see what Brady has to say about his future and much, much more. Again, Preds Insiders coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow.